Chapter 297. Wang Kai shrugged indifferently when he heard this. He closed his eyes slightly, and when he opened them again, the silver light had disappeared. He smiled faintly and said, "For a character like this young master who dominates the world, just looking is enough. As for those spirit arrays, haha, this young master can break them with a wave of his hand." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Although he said that, Wang Kaisan was secretly excited. With such an awesome ability like the Eyes of Truth, wouldn't he be able to see all the beauties in the world in the future? Even the Empress of Fan Province would have to hee-hee. As he thought about it, Wang Kai began to laugh. His lecherous behavior made Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian even angrier. They both stepped forward and reached out their hands to grab Wang Kai's eyes. "Bastard! How dare you peek at me? Your eyes must be destroyed. Such despicable eyes must be destroyed." Hearing the two women's incessant reprimanding and clawing, Wang Kai's face suddenly turned serious. With a wave of his hand, he released his pressure, immediately suppressing the two women to the ground, unable to move at all. Bin Xiao didn't show his power. Did you really think that Bin Xiao has a good temper? Everyone says that women with big breasts have no brains. This young master has finally witnessed it today. You don't need to use your brains to think about it. If this young master wants to do anything to you, with your insignificant strength, can you resist? Wang Kai's face was full of disdain. He reached out his hand and tapped their heads, causing them to tilt their heads back. "Young Master Wang, don't you know what it means to look at indecent things? Don't you know what it means to be a gentleman?" Gu Bingning pursed her red lips. The anger in her eyes was obvious. Just a moment ago, Wang Kai took advantage of her. Now, she was pinned to the ground by him and had her head tapped by him as if he was teaching her a lesson. "What do you mean by see no evil?" "Hee, you actually have the nerve to ask Bin Xiao such a simple question?" Since she had already been molested, who would still look? Just like what Bin Xiao is doing now. What can you do even if he spanks you? Papa. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai walked behind Gu Bingning and raised his hand to slap her twice. Feeling the softness and the waves of her buttocks, his heart was immediately filled with ecstasy. "You, young Master Wang, please conduct yourself with dignity." Gu Bingning's eyes were filled with shame and anger as she scolded. Wang Kai snorted in disdain when he heard this. He narrowed his eyes, and a silver light flashed from the bottom of his eyes. He saw that Gu Bingning's body was surrounded by a black circle of light, floating up and down, perfectly protecting her body. Is this a formation? TSK. At most, you can only deal with emperors among saints. Wang Kai laughed in disdain. He put away the Eyes of Truth and waved his hand to release the two women. Bang! Bang! Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian took a few steps back and looked at each other as if they had reached an agreement. "Wang Kai, if you dare to use the Eyes of Truth again or do anything to us, I promise you that you will not be able to break the formation here." Gu Bingning reminded him with a serious face. Yun Qianqian was also embarrassed and angry, especially with her delicate appearance. She looked even more pitiful now. "Even if you are the holy son of the Endless Treasures Pavilion, I will not help you," Yun Qianqian scolded. Wang Kai slightly narrowed his eyes when he heard this. He rubbed his chin and laughed softly. "It seems like I haven't taught you a lesson yet. Should I punish you on the spot?" Sigh. Speaking of which, Bin Xiao hasn't had sex for tens of thousands of years. It's really lonely. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th grade Immortal Martial Realm. Swoosh! Upon hearing this, the two women's faces changed color. They quickly said in unison, "We are willing to break the formation." They were afraid that Wang Kai would really rape them on the spot. If that happened, wouldn't they be ruined by him? Hee, Bin Xiao is just joking with you. With Bin Xiao's ability, breaking the formation here is as easy as waving his hand. Since you want to show off in front of Bin Xiao will give you a chance. Well, show off as much as you can. Maybe Bin Xiao will take a liking to you and marry you. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a smile, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." Crack, crack. Upon hearing this, the two women clenched their teeth. Their eyes were filled with anger, but they did not dare to rebuke him. They could only suppress the anger in their hearts. This formation is called the White Tiger Guarding Formation. If you and I work together, we can break in an instant. Gu Bingning frowned and said softly. Yun Qianqian nodded and said impatiently, "Then let's start. Dao Breaking Eye. Buzz. Spiritual Eye. Buzz." In an instant, Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian's eyes flashed with golden light. Then, for golden lights shot out from their eyes and shot towards the several white tiger shadows in the sky. Roar, 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 roar. Suddenly, the scene around them changed. From a town full of skeletons, it turned into a house. The furnishings in the room were extremely simple. There was a dressing table with a bronze mirror on it. The table was covered with rouge and face powder. There was also a set of tables and chairs, a bed, an incense burner, a pair of blankets, and 2 wooden pillows on the bed. Other than that, there was nothing else. Wang Kai, Yun Qianqian, and Yun Qianqian were in the house. It's that simple. The formation of the divine beast white tiger was broken so easily. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said in surprise. A look of disdain flashed through Gu Bingning's eyes when she heard this. She was extremely unwilling to pay attention to him, but because Wang Kai's cultivation was too high, she could only reluctantly explain, "That's not a formation set up by the divine beast white tiger. The power of the formation only relies on the corpses of the dead. Moreover, this formation has been maintained for thousands of years, so its power has long been reduced to the extreme. At most, it can only make things difficult for Emperor Realm cultivators." An array set up by skeletons? Then, it was the same as the talisman cultivators. No wonder the talisman cultivators and the array cultivators were the two dominators of the spiritual state. Then, this house. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and was about to use true sight to see what was going on. However, he was stopped by Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian. "There is no array in this house. There is only the equal all lives restriction spell. You don't need to use true sight," Gu Bingning said with a pale face. Yun Qianqian sneered and taunted, "Do you know what the equal all lives restriction spell is?" Chapter 298. All lives equal. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled. Bin Xiao knows a lot about arrays. None of the arrays in the world can escape his eyes. Unfortunately, Bin Xiao has no intention of teaching you. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Just admit it if you don't know. Why do you have to act like you are so powerful? I'm not afraid to tell you that once you enter the array of all lives equal, your cultivation level will be suppressed to the level of the owner of the array. Yun Qianqian snorted with disdain. Suppressed cultivation level? Same as the owner of the array? Wang Kai was taken aback. He hurriedly circulated his battle chi, only to find that his own realm had fallen to the martial disciple realm. Only a martial disciple. Could it be that the master of this spirit array is so weak? Wang Kai exclaimed in shock. In the ruins related to the divine beast white tiger, there was an array that could suppress one's cultivation level. However, the owner was only a martial disciple. A martial disciple was the lowest level of martial arts. In the array region of the spirit state, tens of thousands of years ago, there were many array cultivators who could kill immortal martial cultivators with their martial disciple realm. Even in the array region of the spirit state, there are such geniuses. Gu Bingning smiled faintly, her beautiful eyes filled with pride. A martial disciple could create an array that could kill immortal martial artists. Wang Kai's face froze. He did not expect array masters to be so powerful. Immediately, the idea of learning array masters arose in his mind. Host, if you want to activate the array master function, you only need to spend 10 bragging points. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai thought to himself, When he activated the talisman cultivation function, it was the system that notified him. Now, when he encountered the array master function, the system notified him again. It seemed that the system was right when it said that the host must be an omnipotent cultivator. With that in mind, Wang Kai would not reject the offer. The bragging points required were only 10 points. He immediately said, "Activate the array formation function. Congratulations to the host for activating the array Dao function. 10 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to the host for successfully activating the array Dao function. The host has received a 10,000 formation restriction map." Host: Wang Kai occupation: martial artist, talisman cultivator, array cultivator. Secondary occupation: alchemist realm. 5th grade immortal martial artist cultivation method. Immortal Dao, true spirit technique, pill codex, spirit codex martial skills, stellar transposition, palm reversal yin yang, time 9 swords, flying dagger technique, undying fist, essence bullet equipment, Tower of Babel, 9 dragon cauldron, god punishing brush, 10,000 formation restriction map bloodline, level 9 bragging points, 100 experience, 20000900000. Wang Kai glanced at it casually and closed it with his mind. Then he took out the 10,000 formation restriction map and held it in his hand. Looking at the black scroll, Wang Kai could not help but raise his eyebrows. With a flip of his hand, he unfurled it. It was neither too big nor too small, only about a foot long. However, the moment he unfurled it, a series of complicated information immediately fused into his mind. It contained countless arrays and restrictions. The 10,000 formation restriction map contains everything. You only need to read the names of the arrays and restrictions stored in the restriction map and use your own spiritual energy to control them. Then you can instantly set up, seize, and even break the array. The method of restrictions, setting restrictions, seizing restrictions, and breaking restrictions are all the same as the control of arrays. If the host's realm is low, you can integrate spiritual stones into the formation restriction map to replace your spiritual energy to maintain the power of the arrays and restrictions. If the host's realm was low and he had no spiritual energy, he could use spiritual stones to replace it. Wang Kai immediately felt strange. However, he did not care about it. His spiritual energy was the same as his martial arts, the immortal martial realm. Just like talisman cultivation, once he started cultivating, he could reach the same level as his martial arts. All lives equal restriction, seizing restrictions. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. He couldn't wait to send out spirit force with his finger and then whisper a command. Buzz! In an instant, the milky white halos in the room shrank rapidly. Finally, they shrank until they surrounded Wang Kai's body. Only then did they expand again until they covered the entire room. Only then did they disappear. At this moment, Wang Kai's realm had returned to its peak, the immortal martial realm. You really know how to use restrictions?" Yin Xianqian exclaimed in disbelief. Her red lips parted slightly. She could not believe what she had just seen. At the side, Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes were wide open. At first, she thought that Wang Kai was bragging, but now, how is that bragging? Not only did he know how to use restrictions, but he had also mastered the all lives equal restriction. Wang Kai raised his brow when he heard this. He said with a rather indifferent smile, "It's just a mere enchantment. In this young master's opinion, it's just a child's trick. What's there to fuss about? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." The two women looked at each other and felt speechless. They knew that Wang Kai was bragging, but they had no words to refute him. After all, the prohibition spell was now under his control. Especially Gu Bingning, she felt extremely frustrated. Even if it was the equality of all lives restriction, she could still break it, but it wouldn't be this easy. Moreover, it would be even more difficult to master the restriction like Wang Kai. In this situation, she couldn't help but recall what Wang Kai had said before. Could it be that following him into the ancient ruins would only bring him trouble? Gu Bingning sighed in her heart. Her eyes were filled with helplessness. She never would have thought that Wang Kai had not only reached the immortal martial realm, he was also a talisman cultivator. And now, he even knew restrictions like the back of his hand. Cultivating 3 Daos at the same time. Young Master Wang Bingning found it hard to imagine. In the past 10,000 years, only Diyin from the Paragon Daoist sect was able to do so. Who would have thought that young Master Wang would be able to do so? Gu Bingning sighed, with a complicated expression. If Gu Bingning knew that Wang Kai's talisman cultivator was at the same level as his martial Dao, what would she think? What if his formation Dao was also at the immortal martial realm? Gu Bingning would definitely be shocked out of her wits, right? In the future, don't mention Diyin in front of Ben Shao. If you do it again, don't blame Ben Shao for punishing you. Wang Kai's face darkened as he harumphed in an unfriendly tone. Ever since he heard about Diyin from the Fan Prefecture Empress, Wang Kai had always been unhappy with Diyin. Now that he heard it again, his expression naturally wouldn't be good. So what if you cultivate 3 Daos? In front of my future uncle Diyin, you're just a puny immortal martial cultivator. What do you want? Although Gu Bingning didn't know why Wang Kai was so disgusted with Diyin, Yin Qianqian was extremely clear about it. She didn't show any mercy and directly opened her mouth, mocking him. However, before she could finish her sentence, she saw Wang Kai walking towards her with an unfriendly expression. When he raised his hand, Yin Qianqian was so frightened that her face turned pale. She hurriedly covered her, but with her jade-like hands, and retreated backwards. After seeing how Wang Kai treated Gu Bingning, Yin Qianqian naturally didn't want to be taken advantage of. Thank you for your recommendation votes and monthly votes. Chapter 299. Did you just call Diyin uncle? What do you mean? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes as a cold light flashed across his eyes. He was already pissed off by Diyin, and now he heard Qian Qian say something like that. The anger in his heart burned even brighter. What else could it mean? 1,000 years ago, Diyin had fallen in love with my aunt. Of course, my aunt had feelings for him as well. If it wasn't for the fact that Diyin's cultivation base had reached its limit and he was trapped in the seal, he would have been with my aunt by now. Yin Qianqian said as she pursed her lips. Her eyes were filled with surprise. She didn't expect Wang Kai to have feelings for her aunt. Otherwise, he wouldn't be acting like this. However, when Yin Qianqian thought about Diyin's capabilities, the surprise in her eyes quickly turned into disdain and contempt. Wang Kai was no match for Diyin. Yin Qianqian thought that she was going to be punished, but then she saw Wang Kai stop in his tracks. He placed his hands behind his back and ignored her. In the end, it didn't work out. I'm not afraid to tell you that the Empress of Fan Province has already become Ben Shao's wife. She had already given herself to Ben Shao when we were at the southern ridge of Fan Province. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a smile, Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Bragging. Yin Qianqian was even more disgusted by Wang Kai's words. However, she didn't dare to say it out loud. She was already lucky enough to survive the ordeal. If she angered Wang Kai again, she could only imagine what kind of despicable punishment she would receive. Young Master Wang, since you've already mastered the all lives equal restriction, can you sense anything strange about this room? The person who set up this prohibition spell would not have let us in without a reason. Gu Bingning said softly with a frown. Strange? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. Gu Bingning's words were extremely reasonable. If there was no strange existence, why would they appear here after breaking the white tiger guarding array? He immediately closed his eyes and focused his senses, but he didn't discover anything strange. He opened his eyes and couldn't help but gently shake his head and say faintly, There's no difference, Patter. Halfway through his words, the door to the room was pushed open. Under the wary gazes of Wang Kai and the other two, a woman dressed in extremely simple clothes walked in with a 3-foot jade box in her arms. The woman was wearing a gray cloth skirt and a wooden hairpin. Her face was very ordinary. Whether it was her temperament or appearance, she was like a village girl. There was no sense of beauty in her. "Who are you?" When the plain-looking woman walked straight towards Wang Kai, it immediately caused Wang Kai's expression to become extremely cautious. He was about to open his mouth to ask when he saw the woman directly pass through his body. Moreover, he did not pay any attention to Wang Kai and the other two. Or rather, he did not see them at all. Restriction shadow. This is an ancient restriction technique. As long as the restriction is not broken, it can be maintained for a long time, allowing her shadow to be preserved until today. She repeats the same actions day and night. It seems that this woman is the owner who set up the restriction formation, Gu Bingning said with surprise in her eyes. A formation cultivator who could set up a restriction shadow did not exist in today's world. This also proved that this woman must be a formation cultivator from the ancient times. White Tiger, back then when you passed away, I thought I would never see you again. Fortunately, after fighting with Ying Long here for dozens of years, I successfully sealed him in this mountain with the restriction technique. Using this, I also comprehended the method of transforming Dao through the restriction technique of formation Dao. Today, I will place the 9-9 transformation Dao formation here and wait for the fated person to come and get it. Yes, and this token that you left behind when you passed away, put it in as well. Haha. However, in order to test the ability of the fated person, it is better to place this jade box at the top of the mountain. With that hateful Ying Long guarding it, if you want to get this formation and token, you still have to defeat Ying Long. The plain-looking woman muttered to herself with a mischievous smile. She took out a white token from her sleeve and gently placed it in the jade box. Inside the jade box, there was a black bamboo slip. The words 9-9 transformation Dao formation were carved on the bamboo slip. However, why would Wang Kai care about the Bulsh *T transformation Dao formation at this moment? His gaze was fixed on the white token. Although it was just a quick glance, he could clearly see a white tiger carved on the front of the white jade token. It was the 5 Emperor token, the one left behind by the divine beast white tiger. Now, he already had 2 5 Emperor tokens, the green dragon and the black tortoise. With the addition of the white tiger token, he only needed 2 more tokens to gather all 5 tokens. How could he let go of such a great opportunity? Whoosh! Wang Kai, who could not contain the excitement in his heart, immediately flashed to the side of the table and reached out to grab the jade box. However, Wang Kai saw that his hand was unable to touch the jade box. It went straight through the jade box, and he could not take the token placed inside. I believe that the fated person who came here will definitely be unable to resist reaching out to take it after hearing what I said and did. Right? How could it be so easy? Is there such a wonderful thing in this world? What a foolish fated person. Suddenly, the plain-looking woman laughed softly. Wang Kai's face immediately darkened when he heard this. His eyes were filled with shame and anger as he glared at the plain-looking woman. He had never imagined that he would be laughed at by a woman from the ancient times. Gu Bingning couldn't help but laugh. She covered her mouth and chuckled. Her beautiful eyes were full of surprise as she looked at Wang Kai. She didn't expect that there would be a time when he would be defeated. Yun Qianqian, on the other hand, had lost her patience at this moment. She raised her arm and pointed at Wang Kai, giggling. Foolish fated person, foolish you. Haha. However, since you can see what I do, it means that the fated person has successfully controlled the equality of all beings' prohibition. I wonder if the fated person is a man or a woman. It's better if it's a woman. If it's a man, how can we let a man take advantage of us women? Forget it, foolish fated person. Come with me. The plain-looking woman stood up, carefully holding the jade box, and slowly walked out of the room. Wang Kai, Gu Bingning, and Yun Qianqian looked at each other and hurriedly followed behind her. Although they were not happy with the woman's mischievous behavior, they had to follow her. When they walked out of the room, they saw a spacious mountain that had been excavated by someone. From here, they could see the beautiful scenery of the mountains below and the clouds above. It should be at the throat of the mountain. The plain-looking woman walked up a stone staircase that led to the top of the mountain. Wang Kai and the other two followed behind her at a moderate pace. Chapter 300. When the plain-looking woman reached the last stone step, her body suddenly stopped. This situation immediately caused the Wang Kai trio to be startled. Behind the woman, there was a distance of 2 or 3 stone steps. All of them raised their heads in confusion as they looked at her back. It was very strange. One more step and they would reach the peak, so why had she stopped? Fated person of the future, Yinglong reached the Celestial King realm more than 5,000 years ago. The plain-looking woman said softly. Her words immediately made Wang Kai and the other two's expressions change. More than 5,000 years ago, he was already at the Celestial King realm? What about now, more than 5,000 years later? How powerful would he be? The Celestial Martial Arts realm was divided into Celestial Martial Artist, Celestial Master, Celestial King, Celestial Emperor, and Celestial Emperor. As Yinglong, he could cultivate even while sleeping. After more than 5,000 years of cultivation. Are you a little scared? There's no need to worry. Back then, I sealed this winged dragon here with his Tao foundation. That's why he's still only at the Immortal King realm. The plain-looking woman said again, her tone full of teasing. Wang Kai's face darkened when he saw the woman who liked to play pranks. Even Gu Bingming and Yun Qianqian couldn't stand it anymore. Fated person, you must be very angry, right? Haha, if you want to vent your anger on me, hurry up and cultivate. When you reach the Tao-breaking realm, you can go to the 8 wastelands. 8 wastelands? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard that. He listened quietly with curiosity. He didn't know anything about the Tao-breaking realm and the 8 wastelands, but he was very surprised. My name is Luo Ning. I was once the clan leader of the Luo clan in the Immortal Martial Realm. This time around, the place I will be heading to after my Tao transformation should be the Eastern Desolation of the 8 Desolations. I heard from the White Tiger that the Eastern Desolation is controlled by a monarch named the Eastern Sovereign. Fated person of the future, if you can defeat Winged Dragon and obtain my inheritance, I will definitely come to the Eastern Desolation to look for you. Goodbye. Buzz. As soon as she finished speaking, the plain-looking woman disappeared. She turned into light spots and completely disappeared between heaven and earth. Luo Ning? The patriarch of the Luo clan of the Immortal Martial Domain? Have you heard of it? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked curiously. Yun Qianqian was expressionless, while Gu Bingning was in shock. Gu Bingning's tone was extremely solemn as she continued. The Luo clan of the Immortal Martial Domain was the #1 clan in the Immortal Martial Domain 10,000 years ago. But in the end, for some unknown reason, the Immortal Martial Domain was split into 7 parts, and the Luo clan vanished without a trace. To think that 5,000 years ago, the Luo clan is still alive in this world. The #1 family of array cultivators from 10,000 years ago, Luo family? 10,000 years ago, when the Immortal Martial Domain was split into 6 prefectures and 1 island. The Luo clan that vanished without a trace actually appeared 5,000 years ago. He even left his inheritance here? I vaguely remember that 10,000 years ago, Ben Xiao was too bored. With a flick of his finger, he split the Immortal Martial Domain into 7 parts. Sigh, now that I think about it, it's a pity that the Luo clan was implicated and disappeared. But luckily, there was still a member of the Luo clan who survived. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed repeatedly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. The reward is 10,000 experience points, 10 bragging points. Swish! As soon as the words left his mouth, Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian looked at him with disdain. Just a moment ago, he acted as if he didn't know what the Luo clan was. Now that he knew, he started bragging. Young Master Wang, let's go up, Gu Bingning said softly. Then, she pinched the edges of her dress and slowly ascended the mountain peak. Wang Kai, it's not that I want to scold you, but can you stop bragging in the future? If this continues, I will definitely go crazy if I stay by your side. Pooey, how unlucky. Yin Qianqian's red lips parted as she spat. Then, She raised her head proudly and caught up with Gu Bingning. Wang Kai shrugged nonchalantly. He smiled and said, "Of course you will, because Bin Xiao is an extraordinary man. Even the fairies of the heavenly palace would take off their dresses and serve him when they see Bin Xiao again." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. The reward is 10,000 experience points, 10 bragging points. Gu Bingning and Yun Xianxian could only choose to ignore it. They didn't know about Wang Kai's personality before, but after spending some time with him, they could see through him completely. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a braggart. The mountain peak was extremely spacious, surrounded by clouds and mist. Looking up, it was as if one could touch the sky with one's hand. But what surprised Wang Kai the most was the scenery. It was completely different from what he saw when he first arrived at Dragon Mountain. The head of the winged dragon that was entrenched on the mountain peak was suspended in the air. Its head was lowered and its eyes were tightly shut. It was facing an octagonal altar. A jade box was placed on the altar. There was not the slightest bit of dust on it. It appeared extremely clean and tidy, as if it had just been placed there. When I first arrived, I didn't see the winged dragon's head and the altar. Could it be because of an array? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said in surprise. If he hadn't entered the ruins, he would only see an ordinary mountain peak surrounded by the winged dragon. That's right. This array should be called the yin-yang reversal array. From the outside, it looks like the yang side, which is the original appearance of Dragon Mountain. But after entering the ruins, it looks like the yin side. Even if there are strong cultivators who can break through the void and arrive here, they won't be able to see us, and we won't be able to see them either. Gu Bingning said with admiration. To be able to create such a powerful array with just the strength of a martial disciple, he was indeed worthy of being the clan leader of the number 1 array formation clan 10,000 years ago. Yin-yang reversal array? Wang Kai's brows twitched when he heard that. His expression was calm as he shook his head and laughed involuntarily. So, it's the yin-yang reversal formation. This young master was still wondering why it felt so familiar. I vaguely remember that 10,000 years ago, when this young master was roaming the immortal martial realms, I casually created a formation and passed it to the clan leader of the Luo clan. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. The reward is 10,000 experience points, 10 bragging points. After hearing this, Gu Bingning sucked in a deep breath. She looked at Wang Kai with extreme shock and softly said, "Young Master Wang, Bingning rarely admires others. The sect master of the Supreme Tao sect, Di Yin, is one, and you're the second. If we're talking about bragging, you're the best." 1,000 years ago, Di Yin was already the strongest cultivator in the immortal martial domain. Not only is he handsome, he's also a modest gentleman. His reputation in the immortal martial domain is extremely good. Gu Bingning, don't you dare compare Di Yin with some useless people. Yin Qianqian snorted unhappily. Gu Bingning's eyes flashed when she heard this. She looked at Yin Qianqian in surprise and said, "Saint Lady Yin is only in her early 20s. You shouldn't have met Di Yin before. Why are you praising him so much?" Wang Kai was also very curious about this. However, he was also very angry. Top grade bragging system. QQ discussion group. 326077524. Welcome to the group. We'll be waiting for you. Chapter 301. Yin Qianqian's face was filled with pride, and her eyes were filled with respect. She mocked, "Wang Kai, I know you have feelings for my aunt. If you are brave enough, I can lend you a hand." Swoosh! These words immediately caused Wang Kai's brows to twitch. His eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at her with a playful expression. With a mocking smile, he said, "You want this young master to take down the Fanzhou Great Empress, then you can take down Di Yin?" Gu Bingning blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at Yun Qianqian in disbelief. She then looked at Wang Kai in amazement. She didn't expect that the holy son and holy daughter, who were supposed to be together, actually liked someone else. Moreover, it was the Fan Prefecture Empress and Di Yin. "Bingning really wants to give you my blessings, but according to the rumors, Diin has always been very protective of the Fan Prefecture Empress, and the Fan Prefecture Empress also has deep feelings for Diin. Even though they became sworn siblings 1,000 years ago, in the eyes of the world, they are the most compatible. Shut up. Shut up. In an instant, before Gu Bingning could finish her words, Wang Kai and Yun Qianqian reprimanded her in unison. Their expressions were somewhat ugly. Bingning was just casually saying it. You don't have to take it to heart. Gu Bingning's eyes flickered, and she sighed her heart and shut her mouth. Yun Qianqian's beautiful face was frosty. She gritted her teeth and said, Dian's name is known throughout the entire immortal martial domain, and only has brotherly feelings for him. And it's not like what you said. Bin Xiao has already said that the Fan Prefecture Empress is Bin Xiao's woman. If Dian doesn't know what's good for him, even if my cultivation level is lower than his, I can still use the Tao of formations to force him to submit to me. Wang Kai snorted in disdain. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. However, just as he finished speaking, Yun Qianqian's cold gaze swept over Wang Kai, and she mocked. Wang Kai, don't you dare brag in front of me. With your mediocre skills, you can only brag. Yun Qianqian, do you really think Ben Xiao's temper is that good? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed, and he stared at Yun Qianqian with an unfriendly gaze. Yun Qianqians. Even though he didn't want to take it to her, he didn't want to take it that he was inferior to Dian, with her words a few times with her. How infuriating. Yun Qianqian was not afraid at all. She sneered and said, Wang Kai, don't you know that? There's a painting of Dian hanging in Ant's secret room. 10,000 formation restriction diagram. Seize the formation. Buzz. Suddenly, Wang Kai flipped his hand and took out the 10,000 formation restriction diagram. As he poured his spirit power into it, ripples of spirit power spread out from his body. Swoosh! Seeing this, Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian's faces suddenly changed. Their beautiful eyes widened as they stared at Wang Kai in shock. Bang! Bang! Rumble! Roar! 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 The entire mountain began to shake violently. The eyes of the winged dragon, which had been closed, suddenly opened, and the rocks on its body began to fall off. The dragon opened its mouth and let out a deep dragon roar. It was a huge dragon with 2 white wings. Its entire body was silver white, just like the Silver Dragon clan. However, it was even more majestic than the Silver Dragon clan. It looked extremely ferocious and intimidating. Lowly human race, since you have awakened me, the Dragon King, I will spare you. Get down. However, when the winged dragon opened its mouth to speak, it was pressed down by Wang Kai's palm before it could finish its sentence. As he shouted, milky white spirit energy ripples shrouded the winged dragon. Buzz, plop, rumble. The head of the winged dragon immediately fell down and smashed into the mountain peak. The huge head was fiercely embedded into the mountain peak. Human, you can control this formation. The winged dragon's voice came from under the mountain. Its voice was filled with shock. However, Gu Bingning and Yun Qianqian were even more shocked. They did not expect Wang Kai to not only know about restrictive spells, but he also knew about formations. Moreover, he was able to take control of the yin-yang reversal formation so easily. Bin Xiao said that even though his cultivation level is not as high as that Bulsh *T Dian, his formation and restrictive spells are enough to embarrass him. Now, do you believe me? If you dare to mention Dian's name to Bin Xiao again, Bin Xiao will not show you any mercy. Wang Kai snorted coldly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Swoosh! Yun Qianqian gritted her teeth, and her eyes were filled with anger. However, she did not dare to retort. She was smart enough to know that Wang Kai was really angry. However, in her heart, she still thought that Wang Kai was not as good as Dian. She just did not dare to say it out loud. Young Master Wang, Bingning really didn't expect you to really understand the Tao of Arrays. Furthermore, You're able to control the yin-yang reversal array set up by Senior Luoning. With such exquisite attainments in the Tao of arrays, if that emperor, Gu Bingning spoke halfway before she quickly shut her mouth. Her beautiful eyes were filled with fear as she took a few steps back. Wang Kai coldly swept a glance at her. In the blink of an eye, he placed his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "When Dean breaks out of the seal, this young master will naturally meet him and see just how awesome he is." Of course, if Dean was really a decent person, Wang Kai would naturally not find trouble with him. He would just give him a good beating. Otherwise, how could he vent his anger? He also knows about formations. His level is as good as any formation cultivator in the spiritual state. Yin Qianqian gritted her teeth and could not help but mock. Swoosh! Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard this. He did not expect this woman to be so tactless. In a flash, he grabbed her neck and said coldly, "Bin Xiao doesn't want to see you now. However, don't worry. For the sake of the Empress of the Fan State, Bin Xiao will spare your life. However, you will have to disappear for now. Wang Kai, you are a man. Why can't you allow someone to be stronger than you? Don't." Swoosh. However, before she could finish her sentence, Wang Kai threw her into the Tower of Babel. It has nothing to do with Ben Xiao. However, comparing him to Ben Xiao is the biggest mistake. Who in the world is qualified to be compared to Ben Xiao? Wang Kai snorted disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade immortal martial realm. When Gu Bingning heard this, her beautiful eyes flashed. She once again understood what kind of man Wang Kai was. His talent was naturally excellent, but at the same time, he liked to boast and was very domineering. He was so domineering that he did not consider anyone else beneath him. He was not like other cultivators who would lower their heads in front of powerful enemies. "Young Master Wang, I have misspoken. I hope you don't blame me." Gu Bingning blinked her beautiful eyes, an inexplicable smile on her lips as she spoke in an extremely gentle tone. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and looked at her in surprise. This was the first time he had seen such a gentle Gu Bingning. He couldn't help but rub his nose and said with a lewd smile, "Little Bing Bing, have you fallen in love with this young master?" This is understandable. After all, Bin Xiao is too perfect. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Young Master Wang, please don't joke around. Gu Bingning's beautiful eyes blinked. Her charming face was slightly stiff as she smiled. The trace of surprise that had just risen in her heart instantly disappeared. Chapter 302. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai immediately pretended to be pitiful. He shook his head and sighed. What is the most hurtful thing in the world? It's nothing more than a peerless, handsome youth like Ben Xiao standing in front of you. However, you feel inferior because of Ben Xiao's brilliance. Actually, Ben Xiao doesn't mind that you're lacking in all aspects. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Swish. Upon hearing this, Gu Bingning's smile immediately froze. Her extremely beautiful face was filled with speechlessness. She immediately pursed her lips and could not help but say, "Young Master Wang, being too narcissistic is not a good thing. Furthermore, you're only 15 or 16 years old. You can't be considered handsome at all. At most, you can only be considered delicate and young." Did she mean that Ben Xiao was too young? Wang Kai immediately raised his eyebrows. With his hand behind his back, he smiled indifferently and said, "Miss Gu, you're wrong. As the saying goes, love has no boundaries. Naturally, there's no age gap. If Miss Gu really can't hold back her love for Ben Xiao, we can start from skin to skin. At that time, feelings will naturally develop. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Young Master Wang, You're the most hateful person I've ever met. Swish. Gu Bingning's pretty face was covered in frost. She glared at Wang Kai with extreme anger in her eyes. Immediately after, she walked gracefully towards the altar. Upon seeing this, Wang Kai's eyes slightly narrowed. He hurriedly waved his hand and grasped the jade box in his hand. In the next instant, a playful expression appeared on his face as he smiled and said, "Miss Gu, this item was accidentally lost by Ben Shao back then. Naturally, it should be returned to its rightful owner. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points." Upon hearing this, Gu Bingning frowned and glared at him in anger. She scolded in a delicate voice, "Nonsense." It was clearly left behind by Senior Luo Ning. As the saying goes, everyone who sees it has a share. Bing Ning doesn't want that token, but Bing Ning must obtain the 9-9 transformation array. Patter. Whoosh. Wang Kai paid no attention to this at all. He immediately opened the jade box with a wave of his hand, only to see a black light penetrate out from within and head straight for the space between his eyebrows. A strong sense of crisis welled up in his heart. Wang Kai's face suddenly changed. He quickly narrowed his eyes and snapped, "Soul, flying dagger art." Whoosh. Bastard. It's actually a martial skill that can obliterate one's soul. The black shadow was so scared that it immediately turned around and easily dodged the soul flying knife. Floating in the air, it turned into a palm-sized soul figure. Due to the intentional concealment of that soul, it was impossible to see its appearance clearly. The voice was ear-piercing and hoarse, and it was even more impossible to distinguish whether it was a man or a woman. "Who are you? Why is it hidden in this box?" Wang Kai frowned slightly, looking at the Taoist card and the 9-9 Taoist transformation array in a box. He secretly breathed a sigh of relief. With a flip of his hand, he put the jade box into the sky-reaching tower. The physical body has been destroyed, but the soul is still there. You must at least be an emperor among saints. Gu Bingning frowned and said coldly. With a wave of her jade-like hand, black array inscriptions immediately covered the soul figure. Whoosh! However, the soul figure did not resist at all. Instead, it turned into a black shadow and pounced directly at Gu Bingning, instantly dissipating the black array inscriptions. Original Spirit Brand, Immortal Martial. Seeing this, Wang Kai's face suddenly changed. He quickly moved his feet and his figure flashed, waving his hand to grab the soul figure. Plop! But in the end, he was still a step too late. The speed of the soul figure was too fast. When Wang Kai arrived in front of Gu Bingning, the soul figure had already drilled into her glabella. Then, the light in her eyes dissipated, and her body collapsed to the ground. "It's just a peak Saint King, but it's fine. I'll use it to leave this place temporarily. When I return to the Buddha Prefecture, I'll find another body to be reborn in." Suddenly, the light in Gu Bingning's eyes gradually recovered. She slowly stood up, lowered her head, and waved her arm in disgust. "Return to the Buddha Prefecture? You are." Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He saw that Gu Bingning's temperament had completely changed. She should have been cold and quiet, but now she was extremely charming and seductive. "Haha, my Dharma name is Huilian. I was once the holy maiden of the joyful Buddha temple in the Buddha Prefecture. 1,000 years ago, I fought with Ji Chan of the blissful Buddha temple and killed him. If it weren't for the fact that my soul couldn't escape from this array. It's fine. 1,000 years have passed. Let bygones be bygones." Gu Bingning laughed in an extremely seductive voice. Especially when she laughed, her delicate body kept swaying. Wang Kai was dumbfounded at the sight, and he couldn't stop smacking his lips. If it wasn't for the fact that his soul had merged with Gu Bingning's body and controlled her body, it would have been impossible to see her like this. Killed him? In this young master's opinion, it should be that your physical body was destroyed by the senior monk of the blissful Buddhist temple and you fled with your soul, right? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly as he spoke with a playful smile. Whoosh! As soon as these words came out, Gu Bingning's pretty face suddenly changed. Cold light flashed in her eyes, but her delicate body swayed. She said with a charming smile, "Young man, you can't talk nonsense." She was indeed a disciple of the blissful Buddha temple who was related to the Jade Buddha. Wang Kai was absolutely certain that the Jade Buddha that Jing Xian had used was transformed from an eminent monk of the blissful Buddhist temple. According to what Jing Xian had said back then, the eminent monk should have successfully killed this Hui Lian, but he had also been poisoned by her blood of desire. In the end, he had no choice but to transform into a Jade Buddha and die here. He didn't expect that Hui Lian didn't completely die. Instead, she relied on her soul to recuperate for 1,000 years and survive until now. Haha, Bin Xiao never lies. If you don't believe me, you can take a look at this item. Whoosh. As soon as his voice fell, Wang Kai flipped his hand and took out the drop of essence blood. As an extremely seductive and bewitching aura drifted out, Gu Bingning's pretty face suddenly changed. Gu Bingning's eyes turned cold. She suddenly flashed, flipped her jade-like palm, and slapped at Wang Kai. "It seems that you have obtained the Jade Buddha that Ji Chan transformed into. You even took my essence blood. How dare you?" "Suppress." Bang! Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and glanced at her indifferently. He opened his mouth and softly said the word suppress. Gu Bingning, who was attacking him, stiffened and fell to the ground. "Haha, even if your soul has reached the immortal martial realm after 1,000 years of nourishment and cultivation, Gu Bingning's body doesn't have your ability. Even if Bin Xiao doesn't use the array, you will still be helpless. That's why Bin Xiao advises you to take the initiative to get out of little Bing Bing's body. Otherwise, do you really want to taste the feeling of your soul being destroyed?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered with an unfriendly expression. Chapter 303. Young man, how about we become Tao companions? With my cultivation technique and your aptitude to reach the immortal martial realm at such a young age, you will definitely be able to leap thousands of miles. Gu Bingning laid limply on the ground. Her face still maintained her charming appearance, and her voice was extremely seductive. There wasn't the slightest sense of danger from being suppressed. Seeing this, Wang Kai's eyes slightly narrowed. With his hand behind his back, his expression was rather indifferent as he smiled. Bin Xiao's name is known throughout the world. There are many beauties that wish to become Tao companions with Bin Xiao. Even if it's just for a night with Bin Xiao, there are still as many as carps crossing the river. But I'm sorry, Bin Xiao isn't that easy to obtain. And, to put it simply, Bin Xiao is a man that you will never be able to obtain in your lifetime. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Whoosh! When those words came out, Gu Bingning's beautiful face instantly stiffened. That seductive smile of hers became unnatural. She truly did not expect that the young man before her would be so good at bragging. Hee, young man, since you came with this girl, your relationship should be pretty good, right? But this lord discovered that this girl is still a virgin. How about it? Do you want to get intimate with her? This lord will grant you your wish. Gu Bingning's eyes flickered with lust. That charming and alluring appearance of hers was truly extremely seductive. Even Wang Kai was somewhat unable to control himself at this moment. But who knew what this Hui Lian was planning? After thousands of years of nourishment and cultivation, who knew what level her spirit had reached? Furthermore, in Wang Kai's view, her spirit was definitely above the immortal martial realm. If it wasn't for the yin-yang reversal array suppressing her, he definitely wouldn't be able to defeat her with just her spirit alone. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, just as Wang Kai was about to refuse, he saw that the clothes on Gu Bingning's body were all torn apart, and an extremely alluring snow-white body was immediately exposed in the air. Wang Kai immediately swallowed a mouthful of saliva, feeling his throat dry. Especially Gu Bingning's delicate body, it was truly beautiful to the extreme. It was even more stimulating than using the eyes of truth to peek. Haha, young man, come. Because of the formation here, I can't harm you. Gu Bingning giggled and even frowned. She forcefully broke free of the formation's shackles, causing her delicate body to change its position. That position was actually sitting on the ground with her face up, directly facing Wang Kai. And what was even more irresistible was her pair of snow-white slender jade legs were actually bent and separated. That alluring color and silhouette instantly caused Wang Kai's heart to thump wildly. The frequency of his heartbeat was extremely ferocious, as though it was about to jump out of his throat. Come, come, don't just stand there and watch. As long as you want it, I can fulfill your wish. This girl's body is a virgin, and her appearance can also be said to be a peerless beauty. Shut up. Suddenly, Wang Kai's face darkened as he sternly interrupted her. His eyes emitted an ominous glint as he fiercely glared at her and scolded rather angrily. What a beautiful body! What an enchanting posture! What an enchanting appearance! But it's not her doing it. Truly hateful. Extremely hateful. As soon as these words were spoken, Gu Bingning's beautiful face froze again, and the corner of her mouth twitched slightly. She was truly shocked by Wang Kai, and immediately said with a stiff smile, "Since you like it so much, then come. You can have it easily. Come, your grandpa. Such an enchanting body, but such a disgusting spirit inside. How do you want Ben Shao to do it? How to do it? Get out of here for Ben Shao right now. When you get out, Ben Shao will naturally cough, in short, get out of here right now." Wang Kai's face darkened as he scolded with an unkind expression. Whoosh! Suddenly, Gu Bingning's beautiful face turned cold. She actually flipped her jade-like hands and shot out black runes, which directly surrounded the yin-yang reversal formation. The runes were rapidly fusing together. You want to seize the formation? Wang Kai's expression was startled. No wonder she could break free from the shackles of the formation. It turned out that she also knew the Tao of formations. But thinking about it, since she was able to come here, how could she not know the Tao of formations? Suppress. Wang. Plop. In an instant, Wang Kai's spiritual energy circulated crazily, causing the yin-yang reversal formation to instantly stabilize. It even suppressed Gu Bingning, causing her to vomit blood and fall to the ground. Your Tao of formations is so powerful. Gu Bingning's eyes were filled with horror. Originally, she planned to let Wang Kai fall into an infatuated beauty and kill him when he was unprepared. However, in the end, her wish did not come true. She was forced to seize control of the formation by force. Unfortunately, she was not Wang Kai's opponent. If she only relied on her spirit and did not have a physical body, even if she had the ability to break the formation, she would not be able to use it. Now, after waiting for 1,000 years, she finally obtained a physical body, but she met a young man like Wang Kai, who was so powerful in Tao of formations. Was all her previous efforts really going to be wasted? Hualien shouted crazily in her heart. Suddenly, Gu Bingning's beautiful face became crazy. Her distorted face really made Wang Kai frown. The spirit flying dagger technique can obliterate the spirit, but there must be two spirits in her body at this moment. If I am not careful, Gu Bingning's spirit will be obliterated as well. Wang Kai frowned tightly, secretly feeling a headache. Even if he did not rely on the spirit flying dagger martial technique, if he wanted to obliterate her spirit directly, he would not be able to guarantee the safety of Gu Bingning's spirit. No matter what, the only way now was to force Hualien's spirit to take the initiative to leave her physical body. Put her into the first level of the Tong Tian Tower and give her to the Demon Emperor's daughter, Run Huan Huan. The demonic heart flame can devour the spirit through the desire of living creatures. Suddenly, a weak voice sounded from the Tong Tian Tower, causing Wang Kai to be stunned. Cat Master. Big stupid cat. Your injuries. Wang Kai frowned and asked through voice transmission. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Cat Master's body was curled up, floating in the Green Palace. He replied weakly through voice transmission. If I want to recover, I will need at least a few decades of recuperation. However, if you go to Sun Moon Island, you can go to the Leaf family and find a 9 soul recovery pill for Catmaster. At that time, Catmaster's injuries will naturally recover instantly. 9 soul recovery pill? Sun Moon Island, the #1 alchemist family, the Leaf family. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly and nodded gently. He flipped his hand and suppressed Gu Bing Ning until she fainted. Then, he put her into the first level of the Tong Tian Tower. Ren Huan Huan, obliterate this woman's spirit and preserve her original spirit. If you succeed, Ben Xiao will naturally set you free and will refine pills for you for free. Wang Kai said through voice transmission. In the pale world of the first level of the Tong Tian Tower, Ren Huan Huan, who was originally bored to the extreme, stood up in shock when she saw a naked woman suddenly appear. After hearing Wang Kai's voice transmission, she pouted and snorted in disdain. Despicable and shameless big pervert, you have done bad things and you still want this princess to clean up the aftermath. Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard this. He fiercely said through voice transmission, quickly obliterate her spirit. Okay, this princess understands. Ren Huan Huan said reluctantly. She muttered in her heart, doing bad things and not letting others talk about it. What a bad guy. Please reward me. Chapter 304. Lowly human, this dragon king is the noble winged dragon. If you are willing to disperse the array, this dragon king will not treat you unfairly. Winged Dragon's deep voice rang out from under the mountain rock. His tone was much softer, but the arrogance in his voice did not diminish. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. With a flip of his hand, he grabbed Winged Dragon's head from under the mountain rock. With a look of disdain, he looked at Winged Dragon and said, Bin Xiao needs one of your dragon bones. If you are willing to hand it over, Bin Xiao will naturally let you off. Ayo. Yinglong held his head high. His eyes were filled with anger. Even if he could recover after extracting the dragon bone, he would need a very long period of time before he could do so. Moreover, during this period of time, his foundation would be damaged. Before he completely recovered, he would not be able to advance any further. Lowly human, this Dragon King is at the Celestial King realm. If you are willing to disperse the array for free, this Dragon King will definitely repay you in the future. Winged Dragon raised his head proudly and looked down at Wang Kai. Since he did not cherish the opportunity given to him, there was no other way. Wang Kai casually shrugged his shoulders. Using his palm as a knife, he chopped the mountain rock into the shape of a long sword. Under Winged Dragon's disdainful gaze, Wang Kai said indifferently, Plant soldiers. Buzz. The long sword that was formed by the mountain rock had a green light circulating around it. Although it still looked ordinary, it had already become a celestial artifact. Wang Kai was secretly looking forward to it. After his martial arts reached the celestial martial realm, a martial technique like plant soldiers would be able to turn anything into a celestial artifact. Lowly human, are you trying to use that weak stone sword to hurt this Dragon King? Yinglong's tone was filled with disdain as he laughed softly. His dragon eyes were filled with disdain. If it was really an ordinary stone sword, even an Emperor Realm expert would not be able to cause any harm to it, let alone an immortal martial realm expert. Winged Dragon suddenly felt that the young man in front of him was a complete idiot. This stone sword is not an ordinary stone sword. Ben Xiao once used it to destroy reincarnation, shatter the heavens, and destroy the mountains, rivers, sun, and moon 100,000 years ago. How can a worm like you understand its power? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. With an indifferent expression, he held the stone sword and stepped into the air, landing on Winged Dragon's back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Yinglong was extremely disdainful when he heard that. He held his head high and sneered. Lowly human, you want to hurt me? You're still lacking. Ow! Before Winged Dragon could finish his words, Wang Kai waved the stone sword and easily pierced into his back. As the sword moved downwards, the wound gradually widened. Winged Dragon was in so much pain that he shook his head and howled in agony. Unfortunately, Winged Dragon wanted to roll its body and throw Wong Kai off, but because of the suppression of the formation, it couldn't move at all. It could only shake its head wildly and howl miserably without end. Do you think Bin Xiao was just joking with you? Not to mention immortal kings. Even if it's an immortal emperor, this young master's sword can still completely obliterate their foundation. Wong Kai sneered with a disdainful expression. He immediately pulled out the stone sword, causing a stream of blood to flow out. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. Bastard, bastard, lowly human, foolish human, this dragon king. Puff, puff, puff. Suddenly, Wong Kai turned his palm into a claw and pierced into the wound. He grabbed one of the dragon bones and crushed it with force. Then, he pulled out a section of it. Winged Dragon roared in agony when he pulled out the dragon bones. The dragon's head shook nonstop and smashed back and forth, shattering the rocks on the mountain peak. Wong Kai's hand was stained with the dragon's blood. He looked at the 3-foot-long dragon bone that was sparkling and translucent. He could not help but laugh softly. Worm, you deserve this. If you dare to say that humans are inferior races again, Bin Xiao will not let you live. Plop. As his voice faded, Wong Kai stomped on the ground, and the head of the winged dragon was forcefully embedded into the mountain rock. With a flip of his hand, he kept the dragon bone into the sky connecting tower, and circulated his battle chi to clean off the blood on his hands. Buzz. Suddenly, a light flashed, and the 7-colored emperor token flew out from Wong Kai's arms. It floated in front of him, and a celestial voice sounded from it. Wong Kai, this emperor doesn't care why you imprisoned Qian, but this emperor forbids you from harming her. Also, since you've already obtained the White Tiger Dao token, quickly leave Dragon Mountain. You don't have to worry about those experts from the various forces who are trying to kill you outside. This emperor has already ordered Elder Duo Bao to pick you up. Don't be too presumptuous. Elder Duo Bao will not kill for you. Patter. As the Fan Zhou Empress voice faded, the 7-colored emperor token returned to Wong Kai's arms. Many experts were trying to kill Bin Xiao outside. Wong Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He couldn't help but take out the Emperor Fan token from his bosom. His eyes narrowed slightly as he smiled coldly. You even know that this young master has obtained the White Tiger Dao token, and you just happened to come out and warn me when this young master was about to leave. Little girl, are you monitoring this young master? However, the 7-colored emperor token did not respond. Can I seal this token? Wong Kai's eyes were cold as he activated his mind. Host, this immortal artifact has the original spirit of an immortal emperor. If you want to seal it, you will need to spend 100 bragging points. Only 100 bragging points? It seemed that the Fan Zhou Empress did not use too much of the Dao token's power. Was she looking down on Bin Xiao? Did she think that Bin Xiao could not even deal with its insignificant power? How despicable! Hearing the prompt, Wong Kai couldn't help but chuckle and say faintly, "Seal it." Congratulations to host for successfully sealing the immortal artifact. 100 bragging points have been used. At the same time, far away on the southern mountain range of Fan Province, the Empress of Fan Province, who had been meditating with her eyes closed, suddenly opened them. A strange light flashed across her eyes as she smiled in surprise. You do have some skills. It seems that this Empress will have to leave Fan Province again and wait for Brother Diyin to break his seal. Empress, the Supreme Taoist sect has sent a message. Sect Master Diyin will need at most 7 days to break the seal. If you go and help him, he can break the seal 5 days earlier. A silver-furred wolf king appeared outside the pavilion. It lowered its head deeply and reported in an extremely respectful tone. Send a message to the Supreme Taoist sect. This Empress will naturally head over to help. All right. Inform the Supreme Taoist sect that those immortal martial realm experts who have successfully broken out of the seal are not allowed to find trouble with Holy Son Wong Kai. This matter, when Brother Diyin wakes up, this Empress will inform him, the Fan Zhou Empress said indifferently. Yes, Empress, Chapter 305. Outside Dragon Mountain. Close to 100 experts from the 5 major tribes of the Pantheon of Demons and the 4 major families of the Martial Province stood in the air and stared coldly at the entrance of the relic. The Saint Emperors who had been suppressed by Wang Kai were among them. However, they stood at the back and looked respectfully at the experts in front of them. Among the experts, there were only a dozen Saint Emperors. The rest were at least at the half-step immortal martial realm. The leader had even reached the immortal martial realm. Moreover, the experts who had reached the half-step immortal martial realm and the immortal martial realm looked very young. The oldest one was definitely not more than 30 years old. He's out. Dragon Celestial Emperor's son. That young man is Wang Kai. Suddenly, when Wang Kai walked out of the cave, a Saint Emperor from the Golden Dragon tribe in the sky quickly raised his arm and pointed down. He reported to a young man in front of him respectfully. Whoosh! At the same time, the rest of the experts also noticed Wang Kai's appearance and looked down coldly. I've sharpened my sword for 10 years, but I've never tested it. Today I'll test you. Who's the one who stands up for injustice? Everyone is gathered here with murderous intent. I wonder what kind of injustice has caused you to come here and ask for Ben Shao's help? You can say it. Even if you're an immortal emperor, Ben Shao can kill you with one hand. Wang Kai shrugged and walked to the entrance of the cave. He stopped and looked up at them with a mocking expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, the experts' faces darkened. They had seen people who pretended to be stupid, but they had never seen anyone as presumptuous as Wang Kai. Hand over all the things you've obtained in the relic. Release the current Golden Dragon Emperor's son and the other 8 Golden Dragon experts, and I'll leave you a complete corpse. The leader of the Golden Dragon tribe said lightly. The same goes for the Kuan Peng tribe, the Golden-Winged Great Rock tribe, the Phoenix tribe, Peacock race. As the young man from the Golden Dragon clan spoke, the other 4 demon clans chimed in and looked at each other with hostility. As the leaders of the 5 great clans, their cultivation levels were naturally the same. The strongest among them was at the peak of the Celestial Master Realm, while the rest were at the half-step Celestial Martial Realm and the Celestial Martial Realm. On the side of the Martial Province's 4 great families, there were 4 young men who said the same thing. A total of 9 peak experts from the Celestial Sect, a total of 39 Celestial Martial Artists, a total of 27 half-step Celestial Martial Artists, and the rest are all Saint Emperors? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked around in amusement. However, what made Wang Kai feel strange was the people from the Lin and Lu families of the 4 great families. The Peacock race, in particular, had sent experts to make things difficult for him. Such a scene immediately caused Wang Kai's heart to sink. Wang Kai, since your birth mother is a member of the Lin family, hand over the relics, and I can protect you to leave this place. The Crown Prince of the Lin family said indifferently. It was obvious that he was doing Wang Kai a favor. Before Wang Kai could speak, the Crown Prince of the Lu family took a step forward. His voice was filled with disdain as he said, Wang Kai, I've heard that you're engaged to the princess of the Lu family, Lu Yao. Since that's the case, hand over the items you obtained from the ruins to me. That way, I'll be lenient on your foolish act of trying to climb up the social ladder. Climb up the social ladder? Give me a lighter punishment? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and looked at him mockingly. He sneered and said, Where did you come from, idiot Crown Prince? The Crown Prince of the Lu family should have been killed by Ben Shao. The Crown Prince of the Lu family's eyes turned cold and his face turned green. He had not expected Wang Kai to be so presumptuous. How dare you? The Crown Prince is the Crown Prince of the Lu family 500 years ago. Now, he is an expert of the Celestial Sect. Wang Kai, even if you have broken through to the half-step immortal martial realm, you are just an ant in front of the Crown Prince. A Saint Emperor of the Lu family stood up and pointed at Wang Kai and scolded him harshly. The Crown Prince of the Lu family 500 years ago, the peak of the Celestial Sect? Hearing this, Wang Kai instantly understood. He couldn't help but glance around at the many experts who had come. Suddenly, he shook his head and sighed with regret. After being sealed for hundreds or even thousands of years, it wasn't easy for me to reach the immortal martial realm. But on the day I break the seal, I will die here. It's really sad. How dare you? You were just at the half-step immortal martial realm. How dare you talk nonsense? Hee, maybe you don't know? Kong Rose atavistic blood has been extracted. Whoosh! Before the Saint Emperor of the Peacock clan could finish his words, he saw Wang Kai walking toward him with a cold face. He was so scared that his face turned pale. He hurriedly looked at the young man beside him and cried, "Crown Prince, help! Get lost!" Suddenly, the Crown Prince of the Peacock clan scolded him contemptuously and pressed his palm down. The terrifying pressure made Wang Kai's expression change slightly. He raised his hand and hit the Crown Prince's palm. Bang! Puff! After the collision, Wang Kai felt a sweet taste in his throat. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was hit hard and was thrown down from the sky. He has reached the immortal martial realm, and the 6th level. His bloodline is 9th level. The Crown Prince of the Peacock clan narrowed his eyes and looked surprised. The other experts naturally sensed Wang Kai's martial realm the moment he attacked. Among them, the experts at the immortal martial realm and half-step immortal martial realm were even more shocked. Bastard, didn't you say that he was at the half-step immortal martial realm? Bang! In an instant, a young immortal cultivator from the Peacock clan shouted angrily. He even threw out a palm strike, causing the Saint Emperor expert to cough up blood. They thought that they could come here to exercise after breaking out of the seal. Who would have thought that Wang Kai would surpass them? However, they were secretly glad that the Crown Prince of the Peacock clan had attacked first. Otherwise, they would have been humiliated. The Saint Emperor of the Peacock clan clutched his chest and spat out blood with a pale face. However, he endured his injuries and said in a trembling voice, "I really don't know. Enough. Stop arguing. So what if he is an immortal martial realm? With me here, even if an immortal martial realm expert comes, it will be useless." The Crown Prince of the Peacock clan said calmly. Hearing this, the half-step immortal martial realm and half-step immortal martial realm demonic peacock clan members quickly responded respectfully and did not dare to say another word. After all, they were just supporting characters in front of the Crown Prince of the Peacock clan, who was at the peak of the immortal martial realm. Cough, cough. I didn't want to do anything to the Peacock clan, but you don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, Bin Xiao doesn't need to show mercy. Experts from the immortal martial realm, right? The Crown Prince from a few hundred years ago, right? Hee, Bin Xiao will kill all of you today and then visit all of you one by one. Restriction: all living things are equal. Buzz. Wang Kai smiled coldly and raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. He suddenly took out the 10,000 formation restriction diagram and poured his spiritual energy into it. Suddenly, milky white formation runes penetrated the diagram and swept up into the sky. QQ Discussion Group 326077524. Welcome fellow Taoists to join the group. Chapter 306. This is a restrictive spell. You even know how to buzz. Suddenly, all the experts in the sky were covered by the restrictive spell. None of them, including the sage emperors, the celestial martial artists, or the celestial sects, were spared. For someone like Wang Kai, who could set up a restrictive spell in an instant, it was almost impossible for him to avoid it. A restrictive spell that can suppress one's cultivation level? Haha, lowly human race. You don't think that you can rely on such restrictions to swoosh. However, before the Crown Prince of the Peacock clan could finish his words, Wang Kai took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of him. Under the Crown Prince's horrified gaze, Wang Kai suddenly raised his arm and smashed his fist toward the Crown Prince's head. Crack! In an instant, under the horrified gazes of many masters, the head of the Peacock clan's young emperor was smashed to pieces by Wang Kai's punch. Blood, bone fragments, and white brain matter rained down from the sky. Congratulations to the host for killing a peak Grade 9 Celestial Sect expert. You have gained 120,000 experience points. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to Grade 8 Celestial Martial Realm. Dead. The Crown Prince of the Peacock Tribe had been killed by Wang Kai with a single punch. He did not hesitate at all. Was this still Wang Kai, who had been easily defeated by the Crown Prince of the Peacock Tribe? Even with the suppression of the restrictive spell, there should not be such a huge gap between their cultivation levels, right? As long as they were at the same cultivation level, Wang Kai was absolutely invincible. This scene made the experts' hearts beat violently. Even the Crown Prince of the Celestial Sects, who was the leader of the group, swallowed his saliva and his face stiffened. He is broken through? Grade 8 Celestial Martial Realm? How is this possible? Wasn't he just a Grade 6 Celestial Martial Realm a moment ago? How did he reach Grade 8 Celestial Martial Realm now? The Crown Prince of the Golden Dragon Tribe exclaimed in disbelief. The other Celestial Sect's top experts also sensed the increase in their cultivation levels. Through the equal restriction, their cultivation levels were temporarily suppressed to the same level as Wang Kai's. Even so, they were still extremely shocked. Could it be that Wang Kai was holding back? He was clearly at the 8th grade of the Immortal Martial Realm, yet he displayed the strength of a 6th grade Immortal Martial Realm. But as he thought about it, he still felt that something wasn't right. With a mere 2nd grade cultivation, even if he hit himself, what could he do in front of a peak Immortal Sect powerhouse? Wouldn't he still be suppressed? Haha, who said that Ben Shao is only in the Immortal Martial Realm? I'm not afraid to tell you all that Ben Shao's cultivation base has already surpassed the Immortal Emperor Realm. He is a paragon of the Immortal Martial Realm. You can call Ben Shao Master Kai. Wang Kai smiled coldly. With a wave of his hand, he captured the Peacock Clan's Saint Medium Sovereign. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. You? What do you want? Don't kill him. Shut up. Wang Kai stared at him coldly. Under his reprimand, the Saint Emperor's face turned pale. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead as he was terrified. At this moment, his heart was filled with despair. Perhaps he could have asked Emperor Peacock for help earlier, but now, how could he still have such thoughts? He had already cursed Emperor Peacock 1,000 times in his heart. Just a moment ago, he was still acting so arrogant. Now, in the blink of an eye, he was killed by Wang Kai on the spot. Kongro, how are you now? Wang Kai asked indifferently. Swoosh! The Peacock Clan's Saint Medium Sovereign was so frightened that his body trembled. With a stiff face, he said in a trembling voice, Very good. She is very puff. Bang. However, before the Peacock Clan's Saint Medium Sovereign could finish his words, Wang Kai pierced his forehead with a finger. A green battle chi disappeared from his forehead and came out from the back of his head, bringing with it a wave of blood. Wang Kai's expression was incomparably cold. He turned to look at the other experts of the Peacock Clan. He raised his arm and pointed at an Immortal Martial Realm expert. He said indifferently, You say it. Whoosh. The Immortal Martial Realm expert who was pointed at was so frightened that his body trembled. He could not help but look at the corpse that was thrown into the void. He immediately swallowed his saliva and said in a trembling voice, She is temporarily safe. However, if the immortal King Saintus from 1,000 years ago succeeds in breaking the seal, her bloodline will be... No. Puff. Crack. Suddenly, under the Immortal Martial Realm expert's desperate gaze, Wang Kai waved his hand and slapped out. Instantly, the Immortal Martial Realm expert's body exploded into a rain of blood. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a Grade 9 Immortal Martial Realm expert. You have received 10,000 experience points. In the blink of an eye, Wang Kai's icy gaze locked onto the remaining experts of the Peacock Clan. Such a merciless gaze immediately caused the experts of the Peacock Clan to tremble in fright. They avoided Wang Kai's gaze, and in the end, they couldn't endure it any longer. They roared madly in fright and fled. Ben Shao will definitely go to the Peacock clan. Before that, all of you will die. Palm print 8 desolation. Buzz. Rumble. Rumble. In an instant, after Wang Kai raised his palm and pressed down, a huge green palm print came down from the sky and smashed all the experts of the Peacock clan who were running away. However, the palm print did not slow down. Together with the rain of blood and flesh, it slammed into the ground. Looking at the huge 5-fingered palm print on the ground and the bottomless hole, all the masters sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Wang Kai with horror in their eyes. Let's attack together. Even if he suppresses our cultivation levels to the celestial martial realm, he is still no match for us. The Golden Dragon tribe's sovereign's son scolded. As soon as he finished speaking, he took the initiative to attack Wang Kai. Kill. We must kill this guy. Swoosh. 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 The other 7 crown princes of the celestial sects followed closely behind and attacked. Roar. 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 A golden dragon that was hundreds of thousands of feet long was coiled up in the sky. Behind it, a Kuan Peng and a golden-winged roc appeared one after another. The Phoenix tribe's crown prince was a fire phoenix. The red nirvana divine flame swept out and spread. On the side of the 4 great families in Wu province, the 4 celestial sects crown princes waved their hands and created many clones. Their auras were the same as the crown princes. However, these clones were different from the Imperial Dao clones. Although the Imperial Dao clones had the same strength as the crown princes, these clones also had the same cultivation realm as the crown princes. However, this was because they were suppressed by the equality of all living beings restriction. If the equality of all living beings restriction did not suppress their cultivation realm, these clones would be several times more powerful than the crown princes. Wang Kai, who was controlling the equality of all living beings restriction, naturally felt the pressure increase. The spiritual energy in his body was weakening rapidly. Is this the original spirit clone of the immortal martial realm? Does it have the strength to surpass the crown prince's cultivation realm? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered in surprise. Chapter 307. Lowly race, in front of the protective golden thunder, you will bang, rumble, roar, roar, roar. Before the emperor of the Golden Dragon clan could finish speaking, Wang Kai leapt up and landed his feet on the emperor of the Golden Dragon clan's head. With a powerful stomp, the emperor of the Golden Dragon clan plummeted from the sky and slammed into the ground heavily. Yin-yang reversal palm. At the same time, Wang Kai turned around and raised his palm. A black and white yin-yang disc appeared in his palm. As it expanded to the size of a house, it reflected all the attacks from Kuan Peng and the other crown princes. Rumble, rumble. Emperor's son Kuan Peng, Emperor's son Golden-Winged Great Roc, and Emperor's son Fire Phoenix were all sent flying by their own attacks. They violently collided with the mountains, causing them to crumble and shatter. Among them, the Fire Phoenix Emperor was in the most miserable state. Both of his scarlet wings had been broken by the backlash, and the fire feathers all over his body were falling down along with a large amount of blood. At the same time, the crown princes of the 4 great families in Wu province were also in a terrible state. They were all sent flying with blood spurting out of their mouths. Their arms, legs, and chests were all pierced. They fell from the sky like corpses. You were so arrogant just now, weren't you? You're just a worm. How dare you show off in front of me? This young master can see that you don't want your head anymore. Since that's the case, this young master will help you with a stomp and crush your insect head. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai stomped down forcefully, immediately crushing the head of the emperor of the Golden Dragon clan. The emperor of the Golden Dragon clan was unable to resist at all, and he died on the spot. Congratulations to the host for killing a grade 9 celestial sect expert. You have gained 100,000 experience points. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to grade 9 celestial martial realm. The crown prince of the Golden Dragon tribe had died. Such a scene immediately caused the remaining 7 emperors to be greatly alarmed. Immediately, they disregarded their injuries and turned around to flee. Flee? CKU. You came here to show off in front of Ben Shao, and now you want to leave safely? Do you really think that Ben Shao doesn't dare to kill you? Come back here. Seal, seize the heavens, and lock the earth. Wang. Suddenly, Wang Kai flipped his hand and took out the 10,000 formation seal map. After spreading it out, he pointed at it and infused spiritual energy into it. Then, 7 black runes penetrated the map. The 7 black array runes turned into pitch-black chains and instantly split into 7 directions. They locked onto the crown prince's necks and forcefully dragged them back from the sky. Wang Kai. No, Brother Wang, don't be so impulsive. As for the marriage between you and the Liu family's current princess, oh no, I will definitely do my best to help. The Liu family's crown prince's face was deathly pale as he spoke in a trembling voice. His eyes were filled with terror. Never would he have thought that Wang Kai actually knew the art of restriction. Even more unexpected was Wang Kai's ability. Even if they joined forces, they were no match for him at the same level. If the Liu family's crown prince had known this earlier, he would never have provoked Wang Kai. Didn't you say that Ben Shao was trying to climb up the social ladder? Aren't you ashamed to say that? Ben Shao is such a great man. Why would he climb up the social ladder of the Liu family? You even came here to show off in front of Ben Shao. You're asking for it. Wang Kai's expression was rather cold as he laughed. As soon as he finished speaking, he clenched his fist and smashed it hard on the Liu family's crown prince's mouth. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Bang! Crack! Woo woo woo! Woo woo woo! In an instant, the Liu family's crown prince's mouth was smashed inwards. All the teeth in his mouth were crushed. Even his tongue and face looked like a bloody mouth. Climbing up the social ladder? He, let alone the Liu family, in the entire immortal martial domain. No matter what Ben Shao wants to do, who dares to say no? If they dare, they'll all be killed. So, do you understand now? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered in a rather mocking manner. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Swoosh! The Liu family's crown prince endured the pain and didn't dare to make a sound. He could only nod his head continuously, agreeing to Wang Kai's words. He was afraid that he would be killed if he was displeased. Ben Shao has seen through you. So you could die now. Wang Kai's expression was one of disdain. As soon as he finished speaking, he smashed his fist down on the Liu family's crown prince's head. Pooh! Crack! Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a peak 9th grade immortal sect expert. You've received 90,000 experience points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 1st grade immortal grandmaster realm. Another crown prince died on the spot, and he died so miserably. He killed without any scruples. The eyes of the 6 princes who were bound by the restriction chains were filled with horror at this moment. When Wang Kai looked at them with disdain, there was no anger in their eyes. Instead, there was only endless despair. There were a total of 5 crown princes in the immortal grandmaster realm from the pantheon of demons. The Peacock Emperor and the Golden Dragon Emperor died one after another in the hands of Wang Kai. The Liu family's crown prince, one of the 4 great clans of Wu province, also died. In this way, only the Zhang family's crown prince, the Zhou family's crown prince, and the Lin family's crown prince were left. The Fire Phoenix Emperor, the Rock Emperor, and the Golden Wings Emperor were left from the 5 great clans of the pantheon of demons. 9 crown princes who were at the peak of the immortal sect, the most powerful young people hundreds of years ago, but just now 3 of them died. Now that there were 6 left, it would be difficult for them to survive. This Wang Kai, how strong is he exactly? Why does he know how to set up restrictions? Is there really no one in the immortal martial domain who can stop him? The Saint Emperors and immortal martial cultivators were all dumbfounded by what they saw. They didn't dare to run away because they knew that even if they did, it would be of no use. Even the crown princes who were at the peak of the immortal sect couldn't escape from Wang Kai's hands. What could they half-step immortal martial experts and immortal martial experts do? Now, they could only stand in the air in despair and wait for death to come. Wang Kai, I'm a first crown prince of the Lin clan 700 years ago. Although I haven't met your birth mother, I'm still your senior. I didn't go overboard with you just now. No. Before the crown prince of the Lin clan could finish his words, Wang Kai used his palm as a knife and slashed at him. As the knife grew larger and larger in his eyes, the crown prince of the Lin clan screamed crazily. Bang! Crack! Crack! Wang Kai waved his palm and slashed at the arms of the crown prince of the Lin clan, breaking both his arms. He had already lost a leg because of the impact, and now he had lost 2 more arms. He was supposed to be an expert at the peak of the immortal sect, the crown prince of the Lin clan 700 years ago. But now he had lost 3 of his 4 limbs, and only one of his legs was left hanging in the air by Wang Kai. Fresh blood spurted out from the broken limbs, and the experts who saw it held their breaths. Do you know why Ben Shao is so cruel to you? It's fine if it's someone else, but since you know the relationship between Ben Shao and the Lin clan, you actually came here to act tough and want to take away the treasure that Ben Shao obtained from the ruins? Let me ask you, do you have the ability to do so? Wang Kai sneered disdainfully. As soon as he finished speaking, he was about to slash at the head of the crown prince of the Lin clan. Stop! Holy Sun Wang, don't kill anymore. The Empress of Fanzhou has given the order. Chapter 308. Elder Duo Bao's eyes widened in anger when he heard this. The intense pain on his face and the boundless anger caused his chest to heave up and down as if it would explode in the next moment. Elder Duo Bao, with such a reputation, you should have a lot of treasures, right? Since you are about to die, leave them to Ben Shao. Yes, Ben Shao will take your treasures and ruthlessly deal with the other forces. Hee hee. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and laughed mockingly. Puff! Elder Duo Bao was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He really could not tolerate Wang Kai's impudence. He immediately scolded sternly. Wang Kai, if you do this, the Empress crack. Crack! Before he could finish speaking, Wang Kai's eyes were cold as he swung his palm down. Immediately, both of Elder Duo Bao's arms were broken and sent flying. Hiss! Elder Duo Bao immediately sucked in a cold breath of air in pain. His already cracked face was now extremely distorted. The rolling flesh and blood and his trembling body caused his mind to be a little scattered. Patter! Wang Kai flipped his hand and grabbed Elder Duo Bao's spatial ring. He activated his mind to check it and was surprised to find that there were nearly 1 billion spirit stones in it. Moreover, it was slightly larger than an 8th grade spirit stone. As for the other treasures, magic tools, cultivation methods, martial skills, spirit pills, miraculous medicines, and other treasures, Wang Kai was already dazzled by them. He could only think to himself that, as expected of the elder of many treasures, this name was really not given in vain. Host, the spiritual energy required in the 10,000 formation restriction diagram is about to be insufficient. If you want to suppress an immortal king expert, you need to fuse with the spirit stones as soon as possible. As the notification sounded, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard it. He glanced indifferently at Elder Duo Bao and swung his palm down. You! Elder Duo Bao's pupils suddenly dilated when he saw this. He could not believe that Wang Kai actually dared to kill him. However, it was too late. He could only watch the palm strike descend. Crack! When Elder Duo Bao's head was smashed into pieces, a system notification sounded. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a 3rd grade immortal king. You have gained 60,000 experience points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th grade immortal ancestor realm. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai casually shrugged his shoulders and said with a disdainful smile, "A mere elder of many treasures wants to capture Ben Shao. What wishful thinking." Although he could rely on the spiritual stones in Elder Dwabao's space ring to maintain the myriad formation restriction map, in Wang Kai's opinion, it was not necessary. It was a waste to use them on him. Patter. With a flip of his hand, he took out a spirit stone from Elder Duo Bao's space ring. It was the size of a head, but it was extremely light. The spiritual yuan that flowed within it was even purer. Could this be a 9th grade spirit stone that is above the 8th grade? TSK. Nearly 1 billion 9th grade spirit stones. It should be enough for me to go to the peacock tribe, right? Haha, what a mischievous peacock. Wang Kai squinted his eyes, and a cold light flashed in them. However, when Wang Kai was about to step into the air and leave, his footsteps suddenly stopped. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the incomplete corpses on the ground with hesitation in his eyes. Since Elder Dwabao's space ring had a huge amount of spiritual stones, then I don't care. I have to take the dead people's money. If I don't have enough spiritual stones, Bin Xiao will lie on the ground like them sooner or later. If it's not what a gentleman does, then so be it. Wang Kai gritted his teeth and said. Then he moved his feet and kept all the space rings of the princes. Such a scene immediately caused the experts in the sky to be stunned to the extreme. They never imagined that Wang Kai would actually take away the space ring of a dead person. However, on second thought, if Wang Kai left directly, they would do the same, right? Swoosh! Suddenly, after Wang Kai kept all the space rings, he raised his head and looked at them. He said coldly, "You saw something you shouldn't have. So die." Palm print, vast universe. Buzz. In an instant, under the horrified gazes of many experts, an enormous green palm print slammed down from the sky. They wanted to dodge, but it was impossible to escape from the palm print. Rumble, rumble. Dozens of strong cultivators, including Saint Emperors, half-celestial cultivators, and celestial cultivators, all died on the spot. They didn't even have a body left. They were directly crushed and disappeared into a deep hole in the ground. It's a pity. My cute little Jingxian is not here. It seems that Miao Yin was lying to Ben Xiao. That be asterisk starred. I will not forgive her when I see her in the future. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. He then moved his feet and disappeared into the sky. Patter. However, after Wang Kai left, a graceful figure descended from the top of a mountain. She wore a golden dress that made her seem extremely noble. Her silver-white hair made her already beautiful face even more beautiful. Moreover, if Wang Kai was still here, he would have noticed that her temperament and aura were on par with the Empress of Fan Province. Did I see something I shouldn't have? Then does that count as me seeing it? Uffed. As Jing Xian spoke, she pursed her lips into a smile. Her beautiful eyes were filled with extraordinary splendor as she looked into the distance. That was the direction Wang Kai had left in. Peacock tribe swoosh. Suddenly, Jing Xian's body turned into light spots and disappeared in the blink of an eye. In the void, a dragon chariot was moving quickly. 9 golden dragons were pulling the chariot, while Prince Jin Duo was driving the chariot. Ren Huan, how's the progress? Wang Kai used his mind to enter the first level of the Tong Tian Tower. Ren Huan, who was half squatting on the ground and drawing circles and cursing nonstop, suddenly brightened up when she heard this. She bared her small canine teeth and said in a delicate voice, "Since this princess is here, it's naturally easy. Quickly let this princess out." "All right." And her, she seems to be in a very bad mood right now. Wang Kai was startled when he heard this. He couldn't help but release Ren Huan with a flip of his hand. Then he also released the gloomy Gu Bingning. Swoosh! As soon as Ren Huan appeared, she gasped for air. Her beautiful eyes looked at the chariot in amazement. She kept moving back and forth, and her small mouth muttered, "Big bastard, you are a man of your words." From this, it could be seen that Ren Huan was extremely depressed in the Tong Tian Tower. However, how could Wang Kai have the time to care about her? Looking at Gu Bingning, who was standing in the chariot, her face was ashen. The clothes on her body were much smaller. It could be seen that they were Ren Huan's clothes. This caused her exquisite body to be exposed in the air. Cough, cough. Don't look at Ben Xiao like that. That has nothing to do with Ben Xiao. Wang Kai finally could not bear her cold gaze. He quickly waved his hand to explain, but he was interrupted by Gu Bingning. Wang Kai, meeting you is Bingning's biggest mistake. Whoosh! As soon as her voice fell, Gu Bingning turned around and floated out of the chariot. She instantly turned into a stream of light and disappeared. QQ Discussion Group 326077524. Chapter 309. Was meeting Ben Xiao her biggest mistake? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled indifferently. Looks like she's already in love with Ben Xiao. That's right. Who asked Ben Xiao to be so refined? Sigh. Being too conspicuous is also a sin. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Puchi, Run Huanhuan's beautiful eyes were dazed when she heard this. Then, she laid down on the dragon throne and rolled her delicate body back and forth. She clapped her hands and laughed coquettishly. Hee hee, big bastard, you're so narcissistic. She obviously wants to kill you, but you say she likes you. Hee. Wang Kai shrugged casually when he heard this. He leaned back on the golden dragon throne and crossed his legs. He smiled faintly and said, Say it. What kind of pill do you want Ben Xiao to refine for you? And just say it. Ben Xiao's alchemy skills are #1 in the world. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Swish. At the mention of this, Run Huanhuan's beautiful face became extremely serious. She sat up straight and said in a serious tone, Immortal grade pill, 10,000 demons breaking pill. If you can successfully refine it, this princess will definitely reward you greatly. 10,000 demons breaking pill? Immortal grade? Wang Kai was stunned when he heard this. He was only in the pill saint realm. If he wanted to refine an immortal grade pill, he would have to reach the pill immortal realm. Furthermore, to break through to the pill Dao realm, what he lacked was an immortal grade pill recipe and immortal grade pill ingredients. Thinking of this, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed. He smiled indifferently and said, Hee hee, it's just an immortal grade pill. In Ben Xiao's eyes, it's just a mouthwash. If he wants to refine it, he can refine it at any time. It's just that I still need you to provide the recipe and ingredients. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Amen. That's naturally simple. See, this princess is already prepared. Originally, I planned to head to Sun Moon Island to find the controller of that formless flame to refine it. However, that old fellow is too difficult to find. Fortunately, I met you. Ren Huanhuan grinned as she bared her canine teeth. Her slender fingers pinched a spatial ring as she carefully placed it on the table. Controller of invisible fire? On Sun Moon Island? Wang Kai frowned slightly. He already had a deep understanding of the 9 mystical fires when he left the Buddha region and met the immortal goddess by Yin Yan. The formless flame was ranked 9th among the 9 mystical flames. It was the flame at the bottom. However, Wang Kai was extremely envious of the ability of this mysterious flame. As the saying went, it was invisible. The person who controlled this strange flame could completely rely on the invisible flame to conceal himself, and it would be difficult for any level of expert to discover him. Even if it was a cultivator in the martial disciple realm, as long as he controlled the formless flame and concealed himself, even a peak immortal emperor would find it difficult to discover him. Of course, this was only limited to the controller of the mysterious flame. When other controllers of the mysterious flame met, they would have uncontrollable fluctuations of perception. If such an awesome, formless flame could be used by Ben Xiao, wouldn't it be? Sigh, what a pity. There's only the strongest, dustless flame in the system. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. He immediately felt that it was a pity. Ren Huan blinked her beautiful eyes from the side and looked at Wang Kai with an incomparably serious expression. When she saw him pick up the spatial ring, she said softly, "Quickly help this princess refine it." Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this. He activated his mind to check it. He was surprised to see that there were 4 types of alchemy materials and a red scroll pill recipe. Immortal-grade alchemy materials and an immortal-grade pill recipe. It seemed that this little princess of the demon region was quite rich. At least, she was much better than him. Since you are also a controller of the mysterious flame, why don't you try to become an alchemist? If you are willing, Ben Shao can reluctantly accept you as a disciple. Yes, you should feel honored. In this world, there are too many people who want to curry favor with Ben Shao. However, Ben Shao doesn't care about them. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and pretended to be unfathomable as he spoke. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. When these words were spoken, Ren Huan immediately looked at him with disdain. Her eyes were filled with disdain. She pouted and snorted. Even if this princess wants to become an alchemist, I won't take you as my master. I'm just relying on the dustless flame. What's there to be proud of? Her appearance made Wang Kai very unhappy. He snorted unhappily and said, "Little girl, you can't speak carelessly. Even if you don't use the dustless flame, Ben Shao's alchemy skills are the best in the world. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points." Ren Huan blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at Wang Kai in surprise. She said softly, "In my opinion, your bragging skills are the best in the world. Who in the world doesn't know this? Even if an alchemy apprentice controls the dustless flame, he can still refine a heaven-grade pill without any mistakes. I've been underestimated." Bang! Then Wang Kai took out the 9-dragon cauldron with an indignant expression. He then took out all the alchemy materials and pill recipes from the space ring. "Little girl, Ben Shao will show you today what it means to be the ancestor of alchemy." Wang Kai snorted arrogantly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Swoosh! Such a scene immediately caused Ren Huan's beautiful eyes to widen. Looking at the alchemy materials that were taken out, her delicate body suddenly pounced forward and threw herself onto the table, carefully protecting the 4 alchemy materials. "Big bastard, if you want to brag, then go ahead. Don't waste my alchemy materials." Ren Huan glared at him and bared her canine teeth. Her beautiful face was full of hostility. Wang Kai's face darkened when he saw this. He suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed Ren Huan's arm. He lifted her up and threw her to the side. He said fiercely, "Little girl, don't underestimate Ben Shao. Today, Ben Shao will refine an elixir for you to see." "You, big bastard, you can't treat me like this. It was not easy for me to get these alchemy materials. There's only one set in the entire demon province. You, get it back to me." Ren Huan's beautiful face was full of anxiety. She shouted and bared her fangs and claws at Wang Kai. "Sit down." Buzz. Bang. In an instant, Wang Kai let out a soft yell, and white flames began to burn around his body. Ren Huan's pretty face immediately turned deathly pale. Her delicate body trembled as she sat on the dragon throne. She tightly pursed her lips and didn't dare to say another word. The dustless fire was a natural restraint against other special fires. It was impossible to resist it. Watch and see how Ben Shao will refine this elixir. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled proudly. He flipped his hand and threw the 4 alchemy materials into the 9-dragon cauldron. Chapter 310. However, when the 4 alchemy materials were all thrown into the 9-dragon cauldron, Wang Kai was stunned on the spot. If he didn't use the dustless fire, what kind of fire should he use? The so-called ordinary fire or void fire. Cough, cough. By he, come out and throw some ordinary fire into the cauldron. Wang Kai's face was a little embarrassed as he transmitted his voice. Then he released Bai from the heaven-reaching tower. When Bai appeared, he looked around cautiously. When he realized that he was in the carriage, he hurriedly looked at Wang Kai and asked urgently, "Brother Wang, where's Miss Gu? Did you successfully obtain the treasure in the Dragon Mountain Relic?" Before entering the Dragon Mountain Relic, Bai had been kept in the heaven-reaching tower by Wang Kai, Golden Dragon Pichio, and the others. He naturally didn't know what had happened outside. Now that Gu Bingning wasn't in the carriage and the others had disappeared, Bai became nervous. Instead, there was a little princess from the demon clan, Ren Huan. Wang Kai waved his hand indifferently when he heard this. He smiled casually, "Don't worry about it." After the Dragon Mountain Ruins incident, little Bing Bing has already developed feelings for this young master. Now, she is so shy that she left first. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Whoosh! When these words came out, Bai was stunned. He stared at Wang Kai in disbelief, as if he had heard something terrible. Bragging. You obviously violated Sister Gu by improper means and caused her to leave with hatred. Ren Huan curled her lips and snorted disdainfully. Puff! Suddenly, Wang Kai flicked his finger and a pale white flame jumped out. Ren Huan was so scared that she closed her mouth and her beautiful eyes were filled with fear. She said, "You violated Miss Gu?" Hiss. Brother Wang is truly capable and courageous. White River suddenly raised his thumb and praised with a face full of admiration. Looking at his expression, it was as if he was relieved that Gu Bingning was fine. As for whether or not he had been violated by Wang Kai, he did not care at all. On the contrary, it was as if he was strongly praising Gu Bingning. Seeing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. He was too lazy to pay attention to what Ben Xiao was thinking. Immediately, he pointed at the cauldron of the 9 dragons and said lightly, "Hurry up and make some ordinary flames. Ben Xiao wants to refine the elixir of life." "What? You want me to create mortal fire so that you can refine the elixir?" Bai was stunned when he heard this. He looked at Wang Kai with a strange expression. Ren Huan even opened her beautiful eyes wide, and they were filled with rage. She puckered her lips tightly and gritted her teeth as if she was going to throw caution to the wind and berate in a delicate voice, "Bastard! Big bastard! You can't waste this princess pill refining materials like this. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and put the mortal fire into the cauldron of the 9 dragons." Wang Kai frowned and said impatiently. White River swallowed a mouthful of saliva and waved his hand to create a yellow flame. He walked to the cauldron of the 9 dragons and suddenly stopped. He asked tentatively, "Brother Wang, do you really want to do it? Even if you put the mortal fire into the cauldron, others can't control it, let alone refine. Can't refine the elixir?" Wang Kai was stunned when he heard this. He naturally did not know much about refining elixirs. In the past, he had relied on the dustless fire and the pill book to refine elixirs. Every time, he had a 100% success rate. As for other knowledge about mortal fire, he was not clear. But now he could not lose face, right? Thinking of this, Wang Kai waved his hand and took out the elixir refining materials from the cauldron. His expression was filled with disdain as he coldly snorted, "You've misunderstood. Ben Xiao only wants you to use mortal fire to cleanse the cauldron." Yes, let's word up first. With such an outstanding person like Ben Xiao, how could he not have awakened a mortal fire? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Cleanse the cauldron? Warm it up. When these words came out, Bai's mouth fell open. Ren Huan's beautiful eyes blinked as she looked at Wang Kai speechlessly. Even if Ren Huan and Bai were not alchemists, they had never heard that refining elixirs needed to be warmed up. They had also never heard of using mortal fire to cleanse the cauldron. When Wang Kai saw this, he naturally knew what they were thinking. He immediately snorted with disdain and pretended to be enigmatic as he said, "Do as I ask. Ben Xiao's alchemy skills have long surpassed all alchemists. How can you understand it?" Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th grade celestial ancestor realm. Bai suddenly felt a little speechless. However, he still obeyed and poured the mortal fire into the cauldron. As the yellow mortal fire burned, he looked at Wang Kai and waited for his next instructions. Originally, they were all outstanding people. However, at this moment, Wang Kai had surpassed the limits of the young supremes. Even the older generation of Saint Emperors were no match for him. Only White River himself could understand how it felt. If White River were to find out that Wang Kai's current level of cultivation was already much stronger than the experts of the majority of forces, who knew what he would think? Is there any way to awaken Ben Shao's mortal fire? Wang Kai frowned and asked in his mind. Host, with your current level of alchemy, you only need to spend 10 bragging points to awaken the mortal fire. Only 10 points. When he heard the prompt, Wang Kai's expression suddenly became interesting. He immediately said with a smile, "Awaken the mortal fire. Congratulations to the host for successfully awakening the mortal fire. 10 bragging points have been spent." Poof! In an instant, Wang Kai flicked his finger, and a yellow flame pierced through the tip of his finger and burned. Such a scene instantly caused by he and Ren Huan to be startled. They did not expect that Wang Kai not only had a mystical fire, but also a mortal fire. Could it be that Wang Kai had been an alchemist for a long time? All right, disperse your mortal fire. Ben Shao is going to start refining pills, Wang Kai said with an indifferent smile. But he could only do as he was told. After he withdrew the mortal fire, he stared at it without blinking. He also wanted to know if Wang Kai could refine pills without using the dustless flame. Moreover, he seemed to have said that it was an immortal pill. If it was really possible, then Wang Kai was definitely a monster among monsters. Buzz. Suddenly, Wang Kai pointed his finger and infused the ordinary flame into the 9-dragon cauldron. Soon after, he threw in the alchemy ingredients. As the ordinary flame burned the alchemy ingredients, the 9-dragon mouths on the 9-dragon cauldron started to spit out blood-red mist. Such a scene immediately caused Wang Kai's expression to become tense. He followed the alchemy method recorded in the alchemy book with great care as he carefully refined the pill. This was a matter of face. If he failed in refining the pills, wouldn't his reputation be ruined? Ren Huan was even more nervous. She kept praying in her heart that he must succeed. After all, these are the only alchemy ingredients in the demon continent. However, he was not nervous at all. From the beginning to the end, he watched curiously and waited for the results. Chapter 311. After half an hour, Wang Kai finally made his next move. 8 trigrams pill condensation technique. Buzz. Wang Kai flicked his finger and several ordinary flames entered the cauldron. Immediately, a black 8 trigrams array appeared out of thin air and floated above the cauldron, slowly rotating. Qian, Zhen, Kan Jin, 4 suns condensation technique. Kuan, Sun, Li Dui, for Een pill condensation technique. Buzz. There were 9 black dragons carved on the 9-dragon cauldron. Among them, 8 of the 9 black dragons were continuously spitting out yellow, ordinary flames. As the 8 trigrams rotated, the 9th black dragon would spit out a stream of blood-red air every time it moved to a certain direction. The blood-red stream of air was the essence of the spiritual herbs. The other 8 black dragons spat out ordinary flames in 8 different directions. Every time it reached a new position, the 8 trigrams array would pause for a moment, allowing the ordinary flames and the blood-red spiritual herbs essence to refine. Such exquisite pill refinement skills immediately caused he to be extremely shocked. His eyes were wide open as he watched with rapt attention. Even his breathing had become much weaker, afraid that he would disturb Wang Kai's pill refinement. At this moment, Ren Huan's beautiful eyes were blinking nonstop. Her thin red lips were slightly parted, and her eyes were filled with a strange color. She never would have thought that Wang Kai actually knew the art of alchemy. Moreover, Wang Kai's alchemy technique was many times more brilliant than any other alchemist she had seen before. 1 hour and 3 minutes. 1 hour and 3 minutes. Wang Kai frowned as he stared at the cauldron. He did not dare to be distracted in the slightest. His nerves were so tense that sweat broke out all over his body. Beads of sweat dripped down from his forehead. Like this, a full 2 hours passed. When the time reached 3 minutes, Wang Kai suddenly stretched out his arms and placed his palms on both sides of the 8 trigrams array. Buzz, 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 buzz from the center of Wang Kai's palm. An extremely ferocious yellow, ordinary fire burned and penetrated through. Immediately, the 8 trigrams spun faster and faster. On it, what should have been black matrices turned yellow. The entire 8 trigrams array was now burning with ordinary flames. Bang! Phew! Seeing this scene, Wang Kai immediately heaved a sigh of relief. His body lazily leaned back on the dragon throne as he looked at the rapidly spinning 8 trigrams array and the blood-red spiritual herbs essence that had gathered at the mouth of the cauldron. His heart immediately calmed down. Motherf asterisk Kerr. In the future, whoever asks Ben Shao to use ordinary flames, I will definitely beat him up. Wang Kai viciously thought as he wiped the sweat on his forehead. If he had relied on the dustless flame, not to mention 1 medicinal pill, even if it was 10, he would have been able to refine it. Being so focused on refining pills was even more tiring than the crazy 10 days of refining pills back then. Brother Wang is truly a monster. Oh no, a monster among monsters. I admire you. He clasped his fists and praised sincerely. He was really shocked by Wang Kai's alchemy skills. At this moment, Run Huan's beautiful eyes were also shining, and her pretty face was full of worship as she looked at Wang Kai. Suddenly, she pinched the corner of her clothes, lowered her head, and said in an extremely shy voice, "Big bastard, actually, I can worship you as my master. Your alchemy ability is a little bit amazing." Wang Kai saw this, and his face immediately stiffened. His heart was filled with endless sorrow. It was really tiring to want to perfectly act tough. Now you know how amazing Ben Shao is? Ben Shao obviously has the fire array and can easily refine any pill. Moreover, he can instantly form a pill. However, Ben Shao is a good and down-to-earth youth. He wants to use his real skills to make a living. You will not understand the profound meaning behind this. Wang Kai smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Although Bai He and Run Huan despised such words, they could not refute it. After all, he did not use the fire array. It was clear that he was using an ordinary flame to refine pills. They did not have the chance to refute it. Buzz. Bang. 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 Suddenly, the pill cauldron began to tremble violently. The 8 trigrams above also disappeared. The red air above the pill cauldron had already gathered into a ball and was rapidly shrinking. Swoosh! Swoosh! When the blood-red essence had completely shrunk to the size of a thumb, it turned into a red pill. Moreover, what surprised Wang Kai was that this pill actually floated back and forth in the carriage as if it wanted to break out of the window. It's done. It's an immortal pill. Oh my God, it's actually a heaven-grade immortal pill. Bai He exclaimed. His eyes were filled with shock. Although he had predicted that Wang Kai would succeed, he did not expect that the pill he refined would be of the highest grade, heaven grade. On the other hand, although Run Huan's face was filled with joy, she exclaimed in a delicate voice, Wang Kai, quick, stop it. A heaven grade, immortal grade pill is spiritual. It will run out. No, a heaven grade, immortal grade pill. It was not refined with the fire array. Wanted to attract the alchemy immortal tribulation? Not good. Bai He's eyes suddenly widened. He pushed open the window in horror and looked up at the sky. His face suddenly changed. Rumble, rumble, crackle, 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 crackle. Deafening sounds could be heard. The sky was already covered with dark clouds. Inside the clouds, purple-white lightning was constantly striking. Moreover, more and more lightning was gathering, and it could strike at any time. Alchemy, immortal, tribulation? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard that. He turned his hand and held the immortal pill in his hand. He looked at the 4 golden stripes on it and shrugged. He smiled faintly and said, "It's just an immortal tribulation. Let's see how Bin Xiao breaks it." Whoosh! Wang Kai had already flown out of the chariot in front of Bai He and Run Huan's shocked eyes. Fortunately, he went out. Bai He heaved a sigh of relief and fell back into the dragon throne. He kept patting his chest, and his face was filled with lingering fear. Why would Ren Huan care about this? Her delicate body flashed, and she floated out of the chariot. She said in a delicate voice, "Big bastard, if you want to go through the immortal tribulation, then go through the immortal tribulation. Give the pill to me. Otherwise, I'll be reduced to ashes with you." Bai He's eyes bulged when he heard those words. He smacked his lips in astonishment and muttered, "You are indeed the little princess of the demon continent. You are so ruthless." However, Wang Kai, who was facing the thunderclouds in the sky, was also in trouble. Countless figures appeared in the void in the distance. Among them, there were all kinds of people from the demon clan and the human clan. Their auras were uneven, but the weakest was at the sage realm. The strongest was at the immortal martial realm. At this moment, the expressions of the numerous experts were filled with shock. Their eyes were filled with fervor as they looked at Wang Kai. If one were to carefully observe their gazes, they would find that they were actually looking at the blood-colored pill in Wang Kai's hand. Chapter 312. That's an immortal pill. It's an immortal pill. It must be a heavenly grade immortal pill to be able to attract a heavenly tribulation. Who is that young man? He's the one who's going through the pill tribulation. He's so young, and he's already able to refine a heavenly grade immortal pill. He's a monster. Look, that's a carriage pulled by 9 golden dragons. The one sitting at the driver's seat is from the golden-winged Great Rock clan. Heavens, could that be Wang Kai? He just disrupted the myriad demon conference. Now that the immortal martial experts have broken out of the seal, he still dares to stay in the demon state? Does he have a death wish? But we can kill Wang Kai and seize the heavenly grade immortal pill. No, we should keep him alive. It's rumored that he possesses the dustless flame, the best pill refinement technique. That's right. No wonder he can refine a heavenly grade immortal pill. Once he passes the pill tribulation, we'll attack. Many experts whispered to each other as they discussed. There was a sinister look between their brows. However, this was only limited to the immortal martial realm experts. As for the sage realm experts, they could only watch helplessly from afar. They admitted that they were no match for Wang Kai, let alone any of the immortal martial experts present. Wang Kai naturally heard all of this. He glanced at them indifferently and turned to look at the thunderclouds in the sky. Suddenly, he recited softly, "Lord Kai laughs at the heavens with my hands behind my back. A mere lightning tribulation dares to strike an immortal. Today, I shall bathe in lightning and destroy the heavenly tribulation. Come, lightning tribulation." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Such words and such a domineering poem instantly shocked many experts. Even Run Huan stood in midair in a daze. For a moment, she forgot to ask for the immortal pill. Wang Kai's actions were simply too heaven-defying. He dared to challenge the heavens and ignore the heavenly tribulation. Was he not afraid that the heavens would be angry and send down an even stronger tribulation? Rumble, rumble, crackle, crackle. Sure enough, the thunder and lightning in the thunderclouds became even more ferocious and terrifying. Originally, there was only thunder and lightning in the thunderclouds, but now there was an additional giant. The giant's body was as big as a mountain, and his arms were as thick as a mountain. His entire body was formed by lightning. and the flashing lightning seemed like it could destroy the world. Not good. It was actually the world-destroying thunder, divine tribulation. This Wang Kai is really courting death. Bastard, leave quickly. Otherwise we will be implicated and perish here. Swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, the crowd of experts fled in all directions. All of them had expressions of panic on their faces. Even the immortal cultivators couldn't remain calm at this moment. They fled even faster than the saints. It's just a mere lightning tribulation. So what if it's a thunder god? In front of Ben Shao, it's just a flick of the finger, no, a wave of the hand, and he can destroy it. Wang Kai said with a calm smile with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Buzz. Swoosh. In an instant, the thunder god giant waved his giant arm, which was covered in thunder and lightning, and slapped down from the sky. The area covered by the attack was horrifying. If it hit the ground, it would turn everything within a radius of 10,000 miles into ashes. It's over, It's all your fault, you bastard. Wah. Run Huan Huan regained her senses, but it was too late for her to escape. She could only sit in the void and burst into tears on the spot. In the distance, the nine-headed golden dragon and Prince Jean Duo were also restless at this moment, but there was nothing they could do. After all, they had formed a blood contract with Wang Kai. If they died, they would be implicated as well. Even if they managed to escape, what could they do? Brother Wang, although this admires your courage, but you're too good at bragging. How can you be so good at bragging? You can brag after you pass the tribulation. You caused me so much trouble. Bai held his forehead and sighed. He looked hopeless as he lay limp on the chariot, waiting for death to come. Host, the power of the destructive thunder god tribulation is at the level of a celestial emperor. With your current cultivation level, you will not be able to withstand it. For your safety, upon hearing the notification, Wang Kai's face darkened. He could not bear to continue listening to it. He immediately waved his hand and said, "Quickly destroy the destructive thunder god tribulation." Congratulations to the host for successfully destroying the destructive thunder god tribulation. 200 bragging points have been consumed. Buzz. In an instant, the giant thunder god in the sky disappeared. The sky, which was originally filled with dark clouds, was now clear and bright. It looked as if nothing had happened. When Wang Kai saw this, he quickly put one hand behind his back and waved the other hand in the air. He smiled casually and said, it's just a destructive thunder god tribulation. It's nothing much. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Gosh, I'm fine. Am I still in a dream? Perhaps I'm already dead? This White River was stunned. The nine-headed golden dragon was also stunned. Run Huan Huan was even more stunned in the void. The powerhouses who were running away were also stunned. They looked at Wang Kai, who was standing with his hands behind his back, in disbelief. This bastard. His temperament has not changed at all. On a mountain peak, Jing Xian glared at Wang Kai with eyes full of anger. Her jade-like hands had long since turned white from clenching them so tightly. It was unknown just how anxious she was, but she could not go up to help him. One could imagine how she felt. After all, once there was help from an outsider, the destructive thunder god tribulation would be even more ferocious. She did not know that Wang Kai was also secretly breaking out in cold sweat. Until now, his heart was still beating violently. When he recalled the dangerous situation just now, he did not regret it. Instead, he felt a little excited. Now that the crisis had passed, the feeling of being as light as a feather was extremely comfortable. Sigh, a mere thunder tribulation is still too weak. I vaguely remember that millions of years ago, this young master once destroyed the heavens with a single hand and destroyed all the lightning. In the end, all of them bowed down to me. Now, this thunder tribulation is not much different from scratching an itch in my eyes. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed again and again with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. He really succeeded in crossing the tribulation. How? How is this possible? Is he at the immortal martial realm? No, even an immortal martial realm expert could not withstand the thunder tribulation, let alone an immortal martial realm. Even a peak immortal emperor would have a 50% chance of survival. Then Wang Kai's realm. Could it be that he is an immortal emperor? Hiss. As soon as this thought appeared, those experts were frightened and scattered. They no longer had the intention to provoke Wang Kai. Instead, they were afraid that Wang Kai would find trouble with them. He destroyed the thunder tribulation with a wave of his hand and shocked all the experts. Ben Xiao's ability is really unparalleled. I only sigh that there is no one in the world who can rival him. Sad. Wang Kai pretended to be lonely and shook his head. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Big bastard. You almost caused this princess to lose her life. Now you still dare to brag. How infuriating. Quickly return the pill to me. Ren Huan shouted. Chapter 313. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and casually flicked the pill over. Then he placed his hands behind his back and smiled calmly. It's just a divine pill. Is there need to be so nervous? Ben Xiao grew up eating divine pills. He has never taken anything more powerful than divine pills seriously. Sigh, you're still too young. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Ren Wanwan's face was filled with joy as she held the blood-red pill in her hands. Her beautiful eyes were filled with uncontrollable joy. She bared her small canine teeth and snorted. With this 1,000 demons breaking pill, I can look forward to breaking through to the immortal martial realm. When that time comes, who will dare to say that I only know how to rely on the power of the mystical flame? Haha, this is not bad. You don't use the mystical flame to kill people. Instead, you want to show off your true strength. As expected of someone who follows Ben Xiao. You've secretly learned many of Ben Xiao's virtues. Wang Kai shook his head and praised. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Ren Huan was filled with disdain when she heard this. She flipped her hand and swallowed the pill. Then, she said in a sweet voice, Big bastard, quickly send me into that space. I want to refine the pill and break through to the immortal martial realm. Break through to the immortal martial realm? Hearing this, Wang Kai was stunned. He couldn't help but touch his nose and look at her with a strange expression. He asked in surprise, You are only at the peak of the Saint King realm. You can reach the celestial martial arts realm with just one elixir? What do you know? With this princess talent and aptitude, I could have reached the emperor-level sage level a few years ago if I wanted to. I'm just deliberately suppressing it now. Now that I have the 10,000 demons breaking pill, I can break through several major realms in succession. Wang Kai didn't believe that a person who controlled the mystical flame wasn't talented and strong. Sigh, isn't Ben Xiao the perfect example? Wang Kai sighed with a lonely expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Whoosh! Immediately after, Wang Kai flipped his hand and sent Ren Huan into the first level of Tong Tian Tower. He really wanted to see what level she would reach after refining the 10,000 demon-breaking pill. Let's go. We'll attack the heavenly Yin mountain range. Wang Kai floated into the chariot and said indifferently. Then, he lay down on the dragon throne, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Brother Wang, why are you going to the heavenly Yin mountain range? He asked in astonishment. Now that the immortal cultivators had broken through the seal, if they went to the heavenly Yin mountain range, wouldn't they be courting death? The one who was even more miserable was himself. Could it be that he had to follow him and seek death? Thinking of this, before Wang Kai could speak, Bai He's smile stiffened as he said, "Brother Wang, I still have important matters to attend to. I can't delay any longer. It's a pity that I wasn't able to drink and chat with Brother Wang." "Oh, there's no hurry. After Ben Shao exterminates the Peacock tribe, we can drink and drink in the Peacock tribe's territory." Wang Kai waved his hand with an indifferent expression. These words instantly caused Bai He's face to stiffen. His face twitched as he forced a smile and said, "Brother Wang, all right, there's no need to blabber over there. After Ben Shao is done with the Peacock tribe, he will head to Sun Moon Island. At that time, if you aren't there, how will Ben Shao go to the ruins where the 9 Revolution Soul Return Pill is stored? To tell you the truth, Ben Shao is very poor now." Wang Kai shook his head and sighed helplessly. If he wanted to achieve a state where he didn't have to worry about anything and didn't fear any powerful enemy before his cultivation level increased, he could only rely on the Tao of Formation restriction. Furthermore, with the 10,000 formations restriction map, he only lacked a large number of spirit stones. Of course, the higher the grade and the more spirit stones there were, the happier Wang Kai would be. Plop! Bai's face turned pale with fright when he heard this. He fell into a chair, and his eyes were filled with sorrow. He knew that he wouldn't live for long this time. Heavenly Een mountain range. When the carriage pulled by the 9 golden dragons arrived, it had already alarmed the Peacock tribe's experts. Did the Peacock Emperor successfully kill Wang Kai? It must be. Didn't you see? Wang Kai's carriage was brought back by the Emperor. Haha, that's amazing. As expected of the strongest emperor in our Peacock tribe a few hundred years ago. He has won his first battle after breaking the seal. Hurry up and inform the patriarch and ancestor. Inside the carriage, Wang Kaiwan listened to the discussions and cheers of the Peacock race. He raised his brow and said with a disdainful smile, "There's no need to report. The Peacock race's imperial prince didn't win the first battle. He bid farewell to the Peacock race. Oh no, he bid farewell to this interesting world forever." Whoosh! Bai's eyes bulged when he heard this. He suddenly felt like laughing, but he couldn't. After all, this was the Peacock tribe's territory. Also, was what Wang Kai said true? Had he already killed the Peacock race's prince who had broken through the seal? The Peacock tribe's experts, who were about to step forward to welcome him, froze in the void. Those who had rushed back to report also froze in place and looked at the carriage in shock. Whoosh! As Wang Kai lifted the bead curtain and walked out, the Peacock tribe's experts were shocked. "Wang Kai, you're not dead. How is this possible? The Emperor's son is at the peak of the celestial sect. How could Wang Kai be a match for them?" The Peacock tribe's experts exclaimed. Such a commotion naturally attracted the attention of the other experts in the tribe. They all looked at Wang Kai in disbelief. The peak of the celestial sect is nothing. Ben Shao's purpose for coming here today is very simple. Quickly bring Kong Ro out. Otherwise, not to mention a celestial sect, Ben Shao will kill even a celestial emperor. Wang Kai said with a cold smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade celestial sect. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure came out of the heavenly Een mountain range. It was a beautiful woman in her 30s. She had a beautiful face and a charming figure. "How dare you? Kong Shan can't be dead. You must have known that he was going to kill you. So you took a detour and escaped, right?" The beautiful woman said with a cold smile. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. He put his hands behind his back and looked at her mockingly. He smiled faintly and said, "The peak of the celestial sect. TSK. At such a young age, you must be the princess of the Peacock tribe a few hundred years ago, right?" "That's right. My name is Kong Wan, and Prince Kong Shan is my husband. Since he didn't kill you and allowed you to escape, I'll kill you on behalf of my husband right here and now. Today, I'd like to see how many lives you have, Wang Kai. How dare you walk into a trap and seek your own death?" Kong Wan said coldly. She immediately turned into a fragrant wind and attacked Wang Kai. The lover of the Peacock tribe's prince? Wang Kai raised his brow when he heard this, and his expression became extremely playful. He suddenly took out the god execution brush and drew in the air. Take off your clothes and dance. Please reward me, recommend me. Chapter 314. How could he be so strong? Why, he was dumbfounded. He hadn't expected Wang Kai to be so strong. He had thought that no matter how strong Wang Kai was, he wouldn't be a match for a celestial martial artist. But now, even a peak celestial king was no match for him. Wang Kai, how strong is he? Is he the reincarnation of an ancient strong cultivator? Why, he was shocked. The more he thought about it, the more he couldn't calm down. Bang! Bang! Suddenly, a familiar sound came from below. Wang Kai was overjoyed. He quickly flew into the lunarine forest. Niao Tian was snorting. When he saw Wang Kai, he looked speechless and said, "Little boy, why did you kill that old man?" Wang Kai looked at Niao Tian and frowned. He said, "Is Kong Ro not in danger? Who said my disciple was in danger? With Grandpa Ox here, who would dare to hurt her? Who can hurt her?" Niao Tian snorted disdainfully. Hiss! Wang Kai took a deep breath. Was the strong cultivator of the Peacock clan lying to him, so that he could give the Dragon Mountain to the Peacock clan? Thinking of this, Wang Kai's face suddenly became as dark as ink. He couldn't help but look at the restrained Peacock clan masters. Seeing their angry and murderous looks, Wang Kai waved his hand helplessly and laughed dryly. "That was an accident. An accident. Please don't take it to heart." Swoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, the experts of the Peacock clan became even more furious. They gnashed their teeth in anger, as if they wished for nothing more than to skin Wang Kai alive. "What's going on? Where is Kong Ro? Where is she? Why isn't she with you?" Wang Kai frowned and asked through telepathy. "Papa." Niao Tian snorted and shook his tail indifferently. He said, "She's in the Peacock clan's celestial transformation pool now. When my disciple comes out, she'll definitely break through to the celestial cultivation layer. Hee, at that time, I'll inherit her legacy." He entered the immortal transformation pool. Wang Kai smacked his lips and grabbed Niao Tian's horn. He jumped up into the air and said indifferently, "You Peacock clan know your place. Ben Shao will forgive you. Goodbye, how dare you? Do you think you can leave unscathed after coming to the Peacock clan to cause trouble?" However, as Wang Kai and Niao Tian were about to leave, a furious shout came from the depths of the territory of the Peacock clan. That terrifying pressure belonged to the immortal emperor realm, and it was definitely at the peak level. Even a peak immortal emperor expert has successfully broken the seal. Then, an immortal emperor. Wang Kai's pupils contracted as he felt the pressure in his heart increase exponentially. Asterisk Papa. Asterisk Niao Tian snorted and snorted disdainfully. "Isn't he just a peak immortal emperor bastard? How much damage can he do to me if I let him attack me 10,000 times? You'll be fine, but I'll definitely be in trouble." Wang Kai's face darkened. He wondered how many ninth-grade spirit stones were needed to control a peak immortal emperor expert with the help of the myriad formation restriction map. Asterisk Schwa. Asterisk a middle-aged man in a green robe appeared in the void. He had a handsome face and cold eyes. He was staring at Wang Kai with monstrous killing intent. He said coldly, "End your life here. In my life." Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at him playfully. He said with a mocking smile, "There are at least 8,000 people who have said the same thing to Ben Shao. Who do you think you are? Congratulations to host for successfully boasting. You have received 10,000 experience points and 10 boasting points. You don't know what's good for you." The middle-aged man in green robe scolded coldly. He waved his sleeves, and a terrifying pressure swept across the void. Restriction CLA? Asterisk Wang. Pacha. Asterisk suddenly. Before Wang Kai could cast a restriction to resist the pressure, a graceful figure suddenly appeared. She waved her slender arm and crushed the pressure effortlessly. Asterisk bang. Barf. Asterisk, the middle-aged man in green robe, was shocked. His body was sent flying backwards while spurting out blood. He couldn't put up any resistance at all. He was defeated on the spot. Looking at the otherworldly figure standing in front of him, her golden dress fluttering without any wind, her silver-white hair floating elegantly in the air, and her otherworldly temperament not losing out to the Empress of Fan Province. Wang Kai's face was filled with surprise as he cried out, "Jingxian! Oh, my beautiful and adorable little Jingxian! This young master wants to die. Ugh!" However, before Wang Kai could finish speaking, Jingxian, who had already turned around, glared at him until his face stiffened. "If you want to die, then end your own life." Jingxian harumphed coldly. Her eyes were filled with anger. Following Wang Kai all the way, every scene she saw was hair-raising. Wang Kai was really good at causing trouble. Now, even a peak immortal emperor was provoked by him. Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened. He never thought that Jingxian had reached such a realm. She was definitely above the immortal emperor realm, but she was much weaker than the Empress of Fan Province. She should have just stepped into the immortal emperor realm not long ago. Originally, when he saw Jingxian again, he would definitely love her dearly. But now, Wang Kai only hated that he didn't boast enough. "Jingxian, cough cough, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Shouldn't we drink some tea and eat some food? And cough cough, that is," Wang Kai said with a rather bashful smile. His appearance was clearly that of a pig. "Who are you? Why are you helping Wang Kai?" Asterisk swoosh. Asterisk, the immortal emperor of the peacock race, flashed back. His face was slightly pale, but he stared at Jingxian fearlessly. He could naturally see that Jingxian's realm was at the immortal emperor realm. However, an expert who had just stepped into the immortal emperor realm was far from enough to go against the peacock race. The holy maiden of the sovereign Dao sect, Jingxian. Jingxian said faintly with her hands behind her back. The sovereign Dao sect. The immortal emperor of the peacock race's face turned colder and colder. He shouted angrily, "The sovereign Dao sect has not interfered with the affairs of the world for many years. Now that Di'in hasn't broken the seal yet, you want to interfere with the affairs of the world? Moreover, Wang Kai is the holy son of the treasure trove pavilion. What does he have to do with the sovereign Dao sect? Nonsense. Jingxian is my wife, and I am her husband. If she doesn't care about Ben Shao, who else can she care about? You idiot, you just broke the seal. Haven't you recovered your senses yet? Ben Shao, I think it's better for you to be reborn," Wang Kai said proudly. Wife. The holy maiden of the sovereign Dao sect, Jingxian, who was at the immortal emperor realm, was actually Wang Kai's wife. The immortal emperor of the peacock race's expression changed. He had never thought that the sovereign Dao sect would betroth their holy maiden to an outsider. Even though the treasure trove pavilion and the sovereign Dao sect had always had a good relationship, it was impossible for such a thing to happen. Chapter 315. Don't spout nonsense. Jingxian glared at Wang Kai angrily. If it wasn't for the fact that he was in danger, she wouldn't have shown up. After all, what happened between the two of them back then? Now that she heard him calling her that, she couldn't help but recall the past. Although she didn't regret it, it was difficult for her to face Wang Kai in a normal manner. When this emperor was cultivating in seclusion in the Buddha province, this emperor accidentally took Wang Kai as my attendant. If this emperor had known that he would cause so much trouble, this emperor would have killed him long ago. Since he came to the peacock tribe to cause trouble today, Jingxian's eyes were indifferent, and her tone was calm as she suddenly paused. Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard her words. The corner of his mouth twitched as he furrowed his brows and glared at Jingxian. He wanted to know what she was going to say next. On the other hand, the celestial emperor of the peacock tribe was stunned when he heard Jingxian's words. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he said with a chilling smile, "How are you going to deal with this matter? Even if the supreme Dao sect is powerful, the peacock tribe isn't weak either. Since he has come to the peacock tribe to commit such atrocities, as this emperor's follower, I naturally have to protect him. I hope the Peacock tribe will stop now. Jing Xian said indifferently with her hands behind her back. Swoosh! The celestial emperor of the Peacock tribe narrowed his eyes when he heard Jing Xian's words. His face turned ashen as he snapped. What a great supreme Tao sect! What a great saintess Jing Xian! When the celestial emperor of my tribe breaks through the seal, I will definitely seek justice from Dean. All of you get lost. How dare you? You should die for speaking rudely. Swoosh! Bang! Jing Xian's eyes were extremely cold. As soon as she finished speaking, she waved her slender arm and struck out with her palm. A terrifying pressure swept out and blasted the heart of the celestial emperor of the Peacock tribe. The celestial emperor of the Peacock tribe died on the spot. She didn't hesitate at all, just like when she was in the blissful ancient city. Hee, my beautiful wife, let's quickly leave the demon continent. Jing Xian will not see you again. Jing Xian's face was cold as she said. Then, she turned around and left. Wang Kai's face, which was originally full of smiles, suddenly darkened. He twisted his eyebrows and said with a vicious smile, Little Jing Xian, you just arrived. How can you leave so quickly? 10,000 formation restriction diagram. Restriction. All life is equal. Wang. Swoosh. In an instant, milky white halos penetrated the 10,000 formation seal diagram. Like ripples, they spread toward Jing Xian. When Jing Xian saw this, anger flashed through her eyes. She never thought that Wang Kai would actually dare to use the restriction technique on her. Immediately, she angrily rebuked with a cold face, Lecher. Whoosh. Crack. Crack. As Jing Xian waved her arm, the ripples of restriction that spread out instantly dissipated. They were unable to harm her in the slightest. Hee, looks like you don't have enough spiritual stones. Jing Xian couldn't help but smile. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a playful smile. Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard this. He gritted his teeth and glared at her fiercely. Suddenly, he laughed out loud and said, Even if I have to go bankrupt today, I will make you surrender without a fight. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, Wang Kai crazily integrated all the 9th grade spiritual stones that he had robbed into the 10,000 formation restriction diagram. At first, it was 10 million, but in the end, it reached 100 million. However, the ripples of the restriction could not get close to Jing Xian's body. Hee, no more spiritual stones? Wang Kai, if you don't, I will teach you a lesson. Jing Xian pretended to be calm as she smiled. In her heart, she was already regretting it to the extreme. She had just broken Wang Kai's first restriction. She should have left quickly. However, as the restriction's power increased, Jing Xian could not break it with her strength. Now they were in a stalemate. When Wang Kai saw this, he narrowed his eyes slightly. How could he not see Jing Xian's current situation? He immediately gritted his teeth and said with a smile, Yes, I have a lot of them. If 100 million spiritual stones are not enough, I will double it. Buzz. Then, another 300 million 9th grade spiritual stones were integrated into the 10,000 formation restriction diagram. Whoosh. Finally, Jing Xian was completely shrouded in the restriction after nearly 500 million 9th grade spirit stones were infused into it. Hee, Jing Xian, you are just a celestial emperor, but in front of Ben Xiao, you want to... Wang Kai smiled faintly. However, before he could finish his sentence, he saw Jing Xian attacking him. He was so shocked that his smile froze. He raised his hand to meet her attack. Bang! When the two palms collided, both Wang Kai and Jing Xian took a few steps back. The all-living being's equal restriction has suppressed my realm. Ha, what can you do with that? Jing Xian's eyes were full of mockery. She suddenly attacked Wang Kai again with a burst of fragrance. Whoosh! When Wang Kai saw this, he narrowed his eyes slightly. He could not help but exclaim in admiration. Jing Xian's strength was absolutely powerful. If it were someone else, how could they be on par with him? 8 gates hidden gate. Buzz. In an instant, blood-red and black airflows appeared around Wang Kai's body. His eyes also turned blood-red. and a cruel and violent aura filled the void. Seeing this, Jing Xian's footsteps suddenly stopped. Her face was full of anger as she reprimanded, "Bastard! Why did you burn your divine soul and bloodline? Do you think Jing Xian can really kill you?" F***CKU, Bin Xiao has already paid 500 million ninth grade spirit stones. What's the difference between these broken bloodlines and divine souls? Don't worry, Bin Xiao's bloodline and divine soul power are inexhaustible. It's enough to make you obediently submit, Wang Kai said with a dark face and a vicious smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Whoosh! As soon as his voice fell, Wang Kai turned into a bloody light and fiercely rushed towards Jing Xian. He came in front of her and raised his hand to grab her shoulder. When Jing Xian saw this, her eyes flashed rapidly. Her jade-like hand hidden in her sleeve slightly pinched. There was a long silver needle shining between her fingers. However, in the end, she did not take it out. Pa! Immediately, Wang Kai pressed his hand on Jing Xian's shoulder and carried her horizontally. He smiled proudly and said, "Wife, let's go back and chat about our daily lives." This lecher, bastard. Jing Xian's eyes were full of anger. Being held in Wang Kai's arms, she pursed her lips and secretly scolded him. However, when she saw Wang Kai's bloodline and divine soul power, she could only sigh and let him do whatever he wanted. Inside the carriage, when Wang Kai entered with Jing Xian, he saw Wang Kai's ferocious look. He was so frightened that his face turned pale. He quickly stood up and said, "I'm going out to get some fresh air." Cough, cough. Seal the sky and lock the earth. Buzz. Swoosh. Several pitch-black rune chains penetrated out and immediately surrounded the entire chariot. Even Yoja Tian and Bai He were blocked outside. Old Nyo, help Bin Xiao look after the sky tower for a while. Swoosh. When a golden light pierced through, Nyoja Tian immediately snorted. He curled his big tongue and took it. With a disdainful look, he snorted and said, "Don't you want to have some fun? Do you have to burn your bloodline and divine soul?" Little did he know that Wang Kai could recover his divine soul and bloodline at any time. Chapter 316. Inside the carriage, Wang Kai's entire body was surrounded by a blood-red and black aura. His blood-red eyes stared straight at Jing Xian, who was sitting on the dragon throne. He couldn't help but recall the spring breeze in the blissful Buddhist temple. For a moment, his breathing became even more chaotic and heavy. Jing Xian won't leave. Quickly remove the secret technique that burns your soul and bloodline. Jing Xian's eyes flickered as she looked at Wang Kai, who was like a wolf or tiger. She was worried and flustered. Stop the 8 inner hidden gates martial technique? What a joke. If he really did as he was told and returned to his original realm, wouldn't he have to fight Jing Xian to a draw? At that time, how would he have the chance to take her down? At that time, wouldn't he suffer a double loss? Wang Kai would never let such a thing happen. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. His breathing was heavy as he grinned and said in a low voice, "It's fine. This way, it can even show off Bin Xiao's masculinity and body." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Such words immediately angered Jing Xian's pretty face. Her gaze was extremely cold as she stared at Wang Kai. She scolded him in a rather merciless manner. Quickly remove that secret technique. Otherwise, even if I die, Jing Xian will not let you have your way. Swish. As soon as these words came out, Wang Kai's expression suddenly froze. He never thought that she would do such a thing. Helpless, he pretended to be sorrowful as he shook his head and sighed. Bin Xiao is afraid that if he stops the secret technique, he will be unconscious due to the secret technique. At that time, wouldn't that be? If the two of you are in love for a long time, why would you stay together day and night? Jing Xian promises you that she won't leave for the time being. Jing Xian pursed her lips and said. The panic in her eyes became even more intense as her heart pounded. Compared to when she was at the blissful Buddha temple, the current situation made her even more nervous. Wang Kai panted heavily and said with a fierce expression, "That kind of poem is just an excuse made by lonely people and people with bad intentions." In Bencheo's opinion, it should be that since the love between two people can last, they should accompany each other day and night. Whoosh! As his voice faded, Wang Kai suddenly pounced over and pushed Jing Xian onto the dragon throne. With a flip of his hand, he took off all of her clothes and threw them to the side. When Jing Xuan's snow-white body was exposed to the air, Wang Kai immediately swallowed his saliva. Such a figure is truly unprecedented in the world. Oh no, it should be unprecedented in the past and the future. There is only one person like this in the myriad of worlds in the universe. It is truly an honor for Benchao to be able to know and accompany you. The blood-red color in Wang Kai's eyes became even more intense. It was not caused by the burning of his spirit and bloodline, but by desire. As his voice sounded out, Wang Kai's body shook violently. Immediately, the clothes on his body were shattered into pieces and scattered in all directions. Jing Xian immediately became even more flustered. She quickly turned her head away shyly. Her beautiful eyes flickered rapidly, and a blush appeared on her pretty face. Even her ears, neck, and body were like shy flowers, trembling nonstop. Bastard, is Jing Xian painting? Why are you still looking there? Jing Xian pursed her lips tightly. Her words were extremely harsh, but her tone was very shy and gentle, as if she was acting coquettishly. Wang Kai's eyes widened when he heard this. He immediately swallowed a mouthful of saliva and lowered his head to kiss her soft lips. Then, he gently separated and grinned. "Wife, don't be anxious. Your husband is here." Then, Wang Kai could no longer hold it in and pounced on her while breathing heavily. Hiss, 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 Jing Xian frowned slightly. She hissed in pain shyly and wrapped her arms around Wang Kai's neck with trembling arms. When the dragon throne and the chariot shook, the rhythmic and ferocious sounds were heard. Niu Zhetian, Bai He, and the others' expressions changed when they heard it. Slap, slap. Niu Zhetian snorted disdainfully and said, "Too weak." When Master Niu fought with the beautiful concubine, the sun and the moon trembled endlessly. Little Wang's body is too weak. Hiss, hiss. When Bai He heard this, his eyes bulged. He looked at Niu Zhetian in astonishment and couldn't help but say, "Master Niu, that was a great battle. It's not what Brother Wang is doing now." Bullshit. Master Niu's so-called great battle is what little Wang is doing now. Oof. Look at how ignorant you are. You must be even weaker than little Wang. Niu Zhetian snorted disdainfully. Bai's mouth twitched when he heard that. He felt powerless and fell down on the dragon's back. He put his hand on his forehead and murmured, "One man, one ox, one master, one servant. What kind of weirdos are they?" "Master Niu, should we leave the Yin Mountain Range now?" asked Jean Duo respectfully. Niu Zhetian had already told him to call him Master Niu. If he didn't, Niu Zhetian wouldn't let him off easily. Slap! Niu Zhetian snorted. He looked up at the sky and then at the chariot, which was still shaking. Then he looked at the strong cultivators of the Peacock clan and shook his head. He said, "Let's go. Little Wang won't come out for a while. Let's go to Jubao City first." "Yes, Master Niu," Jean Duo replied respectfully. He then looked at Bai He and said respectfully, "Young Master Bai, come sit. We're about to depart." Bai He immediately became extremely stunned when he heard that. He nodded unnaturally and suddenly felt even more admiration for Wang Kai. Probably only Wang Kai dared to make the Emperor of the Golden-Winged Great Peng act like this. Only he could do such a thing. Brother Wang's abilities are unfathomable. Oh no, it should be his courage. Nobody can compare to him, right? No matter how strong he was, he couldn't do what Wang Kai had done. He couldn't make the great imperial prince of the Beast Clan become his driver, right? Thinking back to when they first met in the Buddha province, White River suddenly felt that the clouds had changed so quickly. As the dragon traversing the heaven's chariot turned around and left, the expressions of the many peacock race experts in the heavenly Een mountain range became even more livid. Bastard. He's leaving. Let him leave. When the celestial emperor patriarch comes out, Wang Kai will die. That's right. The holy virgin of the supreme Taoist sect, Jing Xian, won't live either. He's a bastard. Not only did he kill our clan's celestial emperor patriarch, but he did that to our clan. He's too presumptuous. I wonder when the celestial emperor patriarch will come out. Wang Kai is so arrogant in the beast continent. Sigh. Chapter 317. North of the demon continent, Jubao City. The dragon traversing the heavens chariot arrived in the sky. As soon as it entered the city, it attracted the attention of many practitioners. All of them looked up at the chariot with respect and admiration. They knew that there was only one person who could make such a scene, the holy prince of the Jubao pavilion, Wang Kai. 9 golden dragons pulled the chariot. A golden-winged roc was the coachman, and a demonic ox was riding on it. Such a scene had become Wang Kai's unique symbol. Everyone in the 6 continents and 1 island in the celestial martial domain knew about it. After all, Wang Kai was the first person in thousands of years who dared to make the princes of the powerful clans his servant. Inside the chariot, Wang Kai was wearing a white robe and looked extraordinary. He was lying on the golden dragon chair with a smile on his face. He was looking at Jing Xian, who was sitting beside him. She was dressed in a golden dress that was noble and elegant. Her features were picturesque, and her face was like a painting. She sat there, and her eyes were calm, as if nothing had happened. However, her slightly red ears and cheeks betrayed her current state of mind. She had been fooling around with Wang Kai for a few hours. If they hadn't arrived in Jubao City, they would have continued. Although she looked calm on the surface, she was extremely nervous and shy inside. What was more infuriating was that Wang Kai had lied to her. The burning of his divine soul and blood didn't cause any harm to him. If she had known this would happen, she wouldn't have let him have his way. Unbeknownst to him, Wang Kai had to spend a total of 10 bragging points to recover. Slap, slap, slap. Neoja Tian snorted and said disdainfully, "Little Wang, you're still too weak. Back then, when I fought with you, I destroyed countless mountains, bang." Suddenly, before Neoja Tian could finish his sentence, Jing Xian slapped him with her hand and sent him crashing onto the chariot. Humph! You dared to do it, so why are you afraid of others talking about it? Neoja Tian snorted disdainfully. He was lying on the chariot like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water. In fact, Jing Xian was only a level 1 Celestial Emperor. Even if she had reached the top of the Celestial Emperor layer, she wouldn't have been able to hurt Neoja Tian. Wang Kai found it hard to understand the strength of his defense. Ox Demon, if you dare to spout nonsense again, Jing Xian will definitely make you regret it for the rest of your life. Jing Xian's gaze was extremely cold, but her tone was rather calm. Neoja Tian wanted to argue, but when he looked at Jing Xian, his eyes opened wide, as if he had just seen something unbelievable. He shut his mouth and behaved himself. Wang Kai frowned when he saw that. He had never seen anyone who could make Neoja Tian admit defeat, except for Wang Kai, who had the ability to suppress him. Surprisingly, Neoja Tian was afraid of Jing Xian. Thinking up to here, Wang Kai couldn't help but think of her current realm. This kind of speed of improvement could be said to be shocking. He immediately asked in surprise, "Jing Xian, is it because of the blood essence in that drop of Jade Buddha that your cultivation broke through so quickly?" Yes and no. Jing Xian hasn't seen through it yet, but Jing Xian can sense it. When I reach the top of the Celestial Emperor layer, I should be able to see through it. Jing Xian frowned slightly. There was a hint of worry and panic in her eyes, but it quickly disappeared. Wang Kai didn't ask any more questions. Although they were close, he couldn't casually interfere in her affairs. He didn't want to cause trouble for her. Niuzhe Tian's eyes were wide open. He looked at Jing Xian with a surprised expression and then turned his head away. Nobody knew what he was thinking. Big brother, we have been waiting for you for a long time. Below them, in a restaurant, Kanrin stepped on the windowsill and wiped his bald head. He licked his lips and looked at the carriage with a ferocious expression. Beside him, Lung Feng's face was still as cold as ever as he sat there expressionlessly. Crash when Wang Kai opened the bead curtain and landed on the ground. Many cultivators exclaimed in surprise. Wang Kai, he's so young. He's so handsome. If I could have a night with him, I would be willing to die. Bah, shameless bitch. I think you're attracted to his current status and strength. Hee, it doesn't matter what you're attracted to. You won't get what you want. Look at the woman next to him. As Jing Xian appeared, her otherworldly temperament and peerless appearance that did not seem like something that could be possessed by the mortal world instantly made many women feel ashamed of their inferiority. The men's faces were even filled with amazement. However, due to Wang Kai's strength in Jing Xian's realm, many experts shook their heads and sighed. They didn't have the courage to look at her. They're really a match made in heaven. Of course. Do you know who that woman is? Who? Do you know? Tell us. If her family isn't strong, I won't let her. Hee. Oomph. The holy maiden of the supreme Taoist sect, Jing Xian, the blood-clothed Bodhi who once set off a bloody storm in the Buddha continent. God, it's her. So she doesn't have a strong family background. She got to where she is today with her own strength. Young lady, you have a chance. Get lost. I was just joking. Hearing the discussions below, Jing Xian's expression was indifferent, as if she didn't hear anything. She directly floated into the restaurant. On the other hand, Wang Kai's footsteps suddenly stopped. With his hands behind his back, he stood in the air and glanced at the cultivators. He smiled indifferently and said, Bin Xiao's name is Wang Kai, the leader of the Bragging Alliance. More than 10,000 years ago, he broke the immortal martial domain into 7 pieces. And such an awesome Bin Xiao will be an existence that you men will look up to. As for women, Bin Xiao will be a man that you will never get. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Swish! Such words instantly caused the cultivators' mouths to twitch. They were all extremely astonished. They never thought that Wang Kai was actually so good at bragging. The cultivators who originally had some respect for Wang Kai were all covering their faces with their hands as they fled in embarrassment. AI, if I were to use a poem to describe Ben Xiao, it would be, the heavens move vigorously. A gentleman strives to strive unceasingly. The earth is vast. A gentleman carries his weight with great virtue. And Ben Xiao is truly the most talented person in the world. Such a poem, such a concept, it's exactly describing Ben Xiao. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Many cultivators were dumbfounded. They raised their heads and looked at Wang Kai, who was in the air. They never thought that he actually had the ability to casually recite a poem. However, although this poem was very neat, it was used in the wrong place. AI, the leader of the Bragging Alliance, as expected of the name. This Wang Kai is really a weirdo. Many cultivators shook their heads and secretly sighed in their hearts. They waved their hands and dispersed. They really could not bear to continue listening to this. Cough, cough, we don't know you. Kinrin licked his lips and forcefully rubbed his bald head. A rare, embarrassed expression appeared on his face. He hurriedly extended his hand, and with a pada sound, he closed the window of the restaurant. You can't know him. As the window closed, Lung Feng's cold voice was also transmitted. Such a situation caused Jing Xian to involuntarily purse her lips and smile. Her eyes were filled with a strange feeling. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.